Notice my hair swaying gently in the wind, and also notice the sound that's currently audible in the microphone. Yeah, my fan is on, it's fucking hot here, and I'm not going to be keeping it on because of this sound that you're hearing. During this recording, I'm probably going to be complaining a little bit about how hot it is. And, you know, I have a fan here, but you guys are going to go, why don't you just turn your fan on, Doomlink? Well, now you know, it's this sound that you're hearing. Maybe it's not extremely offensive, but I don't like having any sort of ambient sound. It would be worse if I didn't have this windscreen on, but yeah, it's generating between -40 and -35 dB of sound on my, you know, dB scale, which is pretty bad, so I'm switching that off. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. We are back in the Doomlink's Life Hunt series, and unfortunately I don't think I have anyone to hunt with. What does that mean, Doomlink? Well, it means that I'm probably not going to be able to hunt with anyone. It's fairly self-explanatory. We're going to find out what's happening. I have made several attempts to join this room, and each of them have been met with an error code. That, however, was while this Strife room host was on a quest. It may actually go through successfully when he returns to the room. And he is actually currently in the room. Well, he's always been in the room. What I mean is that he's outside of a quest. Apparently that went through just fine. Basically, I tried twice and then left it for about 5 minutes, tried to join again, and it still didn't work. And now that I'm live, it's working just fine. Whatever. My hope is that this is actually going to be a room that I can hunt in for the entirety of this recording. What I was going to do, if I wasn't able to make it into this room, was actually go and grind Diablo's tail cases. Some of you may actually recall that I am trying to forge this lance, but it's been rather difficult, because I require 6 tail cases. Again, not tail case plus, but tail case. I don't believe I can actually acquire these in G rank level, which means I would have to deliberately go and hunt in high rank. So what I was going to do was actually hunt some high rank Diablos in the village and grind tail cases, which would probably be pretty boring. Okay, this is apparently Strife's next quest, so there you go. What's Conrad's hunter rank? Seems like it's 176. Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm sick. I am so fucking sick of this. The word after, which apparently means but in some sort of German. I'm sick of that being censored. It's ridiculous. It is a common word in English and it's being censored. Like, why? But anyway, the reason why I was saying that I'm going to open a room when he closes this one is so that I can try and get Conrad in. His name's Conrad, right? Yes. If I can get him in, then that's great. Because at least if I've got one person, that creates a starting point for me with getting a new room organized once this Strife person closes. This is going to be his last quest, apparently. I don't remember exactly what was posted on the board, so I'll just equip something that's going to work irrespective of what is on the board. I don't currently have my chat visible, so anyone who's talking to me is just going to have to be ignored for the time being. And I do mean just for the time being. I will get it up soon. I'll put that on a shirt. I'm going to use normal heavy bowgun. This is fairly unusual for me. I don't use normal heavy bowgun much these days. In fact, I don't use bowgun very much at all anymore. And the main reason why... Oh, I don't really like using normal heavy bowgun on Devil Joe, but I'll do it anyway. It's not a terrible thing, it's just, I don't really want your guild card, Strife. No offense, but I don't have a reason to have it. So I'm going to remove it in case someone that I really want to have a guild card of sends me their guild card. Or a guild card for, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'm going to remove that now, sorry man. Card list, and remove. I don't know how many slots I've got, but not many. I think it's literally just 2 more. Let's... Oh yeah. I'll get my chat up. How about that? That sounds like a nice thing to do. So that way, if any of you are attempting to converse with me, I can respond. Okay. Strife is asking if we have played Try We. Apparently Conrad has also played. Oh, I've already signed up, so I need to get myself organized. I suppose it's not too surprising that people who are reasonably ranked at this stage in the lifespan of this game also played Try, but anyway. I'm going to put away this stuff. I don't need any of that. I just need needleberries. And I need to make sure that I have ammunition. Oh, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me just... Yes, thank you for the 2 community subs. I do appreciate that. Or the 2 gift subs. That is very much appreciated. Yes, your new uncle in the chat who has given the 2 gift subs has been watching a lot of my streams. I've noticed that he's been going through Castlevania among other things, which I would like to do more of on the channel. It's just there's a reason why I don't do it. It's because I don't stream as often, and what that means is that I have to prioritize things that more people are going to watch, and in the case of my channel, it's actually Monster Hunter, it's not Castlevania. It's like maybe 20% of my viewership that would be interested in actually checking out Castlevania, so it's just what it is. It's unfortunate, but if I'm recording less frequently, that is what has to happen. Alright. I have readied up just because I understand that this is Strife's last quest, and I don't want to actually hold him up if he has limited time, so I'm good to go. I'll check to see what they've been talking about. Apparently Strife was Strife on Try We, but who's to say that this guy was on the European servers? I was. Because of course the European and US servers are combined here in this game. There's only 2 servers now. There's the Japanese and the non-Japanese server. The Japanese server obviously being tied to 4G. Conrad was on EU, so we may have played together. As for Strife... Oh, Strife says US, I guess. What do you mean, I guess? If you're from the US, then you would have played on the US servers. It's fairly simple. Anyway. Alright, we're heading off. It's only a Devil Joe. It's not that easy to hit the face of a Devil Joe consistently with normal, I have to tell you, but I mean, it's a little easier with rapid, but normal shots, a little less simplistic. Oh, it's a little Devil Joe, hello. Well, perhaps not a really little one, but he's definitely not big. So, there you are. After this hunt, I will have to lower the volume of my speakers. They are too loud. Whenever I touch the volume of my speakers, they just inevitably become too loud, and that really frustrates me, but anyway. That's another thing that I'm going to try and not comment on too much. So the chest, I'm assuming, is still a decent shot zone, so I will be shooting that if I can't really hit the head reliably. Yeah, see, this is why I don't really want to be aiming for the face. By the time I can get a clear shot on the face, I'm usually being attacked. So it's really not ideal. I'll use this as a chance to load my gun. I should also be healing, but I'm being a bit aggressive at the moment. Oh, here we go. This is a good face opportunity, if ever I've seen one. You motherfuckers! You don't attack him when he's going to eat. You just don't do that, because that's precisely what happens. He gets flinched out of it. Now we're going to have to wait for the next opportunity. God knows when that's going to be. We might have to wait 2 whole minutes for that. Oh, how annoying. It's extremely important for someone like me who is basically forced to aim for weak points, otherwise I'm not going to do much of any damage. And that would have been a great opportunity to actually get good damage out consistently. I would have very much liked that. But no. I'm just going to mindlessly swing at the monster and then go, oh, whoops. Here we go. It wasn't 2 minutes, it was about 1 minute, fortunately. That is the good thing about Devil Joe, he does tend to eat, or attempt to eat frequently. Alright. Just going to reload. God, that lasts a while. It's quite good. Did just manage to get my reload out there. Of course, you never want to drop 2 of the same type of meat. We've been over this before, but you see, he didn't eat that meat as quickly as he did because there were 2 on the ground. It's simply not the case. Having 2 of the same meat is not going to encourage him to eat more. It's a little more simplistic than that. If he needs to eat, and there is meat on the ground, he'll go and eat it. You know, it doesn't help to have more than 1 of the same kind. If you're going to put multiple meat down, then put different kinds. But having said that, I would prefer to strategize a little more clearly and decide what he's going to eat first by putting 1 meat down, that is 1, of the type that you want him to eat first, and then you put down the next one when he's eaten the first time. Someone named Buckfut has joined the room. It's probably the sort of name that I would have made when I was 8, but, you know, he might be 8. There are some young people who, I don't think even then I would have made that name at that age. But the point is that, you know, there are some youthful individuals playing this game these days. I've come across a few of them. Some of them are quite difficult to make sense of. That's alright, in terms of critical distance. I will be focusing on normal level 2. I'm not going to be using level 3 until I've actually run out of combination materials for level 2. What's Strife saying? Oh, I'm about to leave, mister. That's a good point. Here we go. I'm getting censored for saying after again. You know, when you haven't actually typed in Trial 3 Ultimate for a long time, you start to fucking forget that simple and common words like after are actually fucking censored. You're just not used to having to put some weird accented letter when you're typing standard English. It makes sense if you know a word to be in some way profane, but after is not profanity in any sense of the word. So it's hard to remember to actually intentionally avoid a censor system. Anyway. A regular old walk was enough to get me out of the way of that. My accuracy with normal was a concern at the start because I'm not currently used to the sensitivity of aiming with my gun. In 3rd generation, it's much less sensitive as compared to 4th. But once I become reacclimated, or reaccustomed, to the nature of bow gunning in 3rd generation versus 4th, I should be a little more accurate. I just wish that they would keep the sensitivity consistent, but I also understand why they wanted to raise the sensitivity. It is better to have high sensitivity, not too high, but forcing people to get used to high sensitivity will actually result in better shooting, because the faster you can get on target with something, the higher your DPS is going to be. What I would have preferred, really, was for people to have a choice as to what their sensitive... Why have you dropped another paralysis meat? Are you taking the piss, or are you just dumb? All 3 of us have been playing tries since the servers were up, and yet someone here keeps dropping fucking paralysis meat repeatedly on a Devil Joe. I mean, that is not try skill, that's... This is my first game with Devil Joe in it, and I'm still learning. That's weird. You know, it's... It's not 2010, it's fucking 2023, and we're still dropping, like, several paralysis meat on a goddamn Devil Jay. I can't believe it. Anyway. You're literally just feeding him at this point. You either drop a different meat, or you allow the team to take advantage of the exhaustion, which is going to slow him down and make him more susceptible to traps. It's not rocket science. He will eventually get paralyzed again, it's just that you have to understand that that may not even happen either, because the status build-up will actually drain away if it's not reapplied consistently enough. So in other words, I don't think that in the time that it takes for him to eat and then eat again, you can actually get a meaningful status build-up. The reason why it works the first time is because he has no resistance to the... I keep going to talk to the fan over there, but the camera is here. But seriously, because he hasn't been affected by the status before, the amount of status applied by eating the meat the first time is going to be enough to actually get over the threshold and apply the effect. But if he has already been affected by the status... Oh, Conrad has left. I hope he comes back. This guy is actually taking the piss. He's dropped a trap on the head of the monster while it's sleeping. You are full of shit, mate. You're full of shit. Okay, I'm just... This is not exactly unknown, but... Hey, there's a fucking miracle of that. I'm just going to capture him, I don't care. If you're going to drop a trap at that point, I'll capture him, I don't care. Speed it up. But, you know, the monster actually doesn't touch the ground with his head when he moves, okay? Like, his head is actually above the ground, and the pitfall trap is on the ground, so it's kind of where he stands with his feet. That's how pitfall traps work. I actually don't believe that this guy's from Try. I don't believe it. It's... You know, yeah, there were people back then who weren't playing very well, but, you know, that was a while ago. That was a long time ago. You'd imagine that someone who was playing Try by this point would be doing a little better than that. Anyway, I don't mean to disparage him, it's just that... What the fuck? I wouldn't imagine in a million years, unless he had said it, that he's a player from the Try days, because he really doesn't play like it. I suppose it's possible that you may have not played much in the intervening years, but still, I don't know. It's a bit odd. Managed to get a... Oh, never mind. I was expecting a crook, to be honest. Just a gem. My 19th. Alright. I'm now at max Zenny again. Hooray. That was 1,020 points. Not all that much, to be honest, but that's fairly normal for Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Much less than games like Generations Ultimate. And goodbye, Strife. I will make my own room, but not before checking to see if there are any others. There's no point in me making my own room and then there's, like, nowhere else to go. Okay, it is definitely time for me to make a room. I'll make it now, as quickly as possible. G-Rank, Relaxed Hunting. I'm hoping for both... What was his name? Buckfart was his name. Is that right? Yeah, Buckfart instead of Fuckbutt. Okay. I'm hoping for him and Conrad to join this room at some point soon. Okay, Buckfart was immediately in here. I'm surprised that he had his finger to the pulse to that extent. As for Conrad, it's hard to know, because he did disconnect during the previous hunt. So he might be having network instability, he might not come online again, we'll just have to see. For now, I'm glad that we've at least got this guy. He's Hunter rank 8, I think. Which is quite ambiguous in the sense that he could actually be any Hunter rank, because he hasn't broken it yet. You do... Oh, no. You can sort of see based on his loadout that he's recently Hunter Rank 8. Some people in this game, what they do is they never actually talk to the Guildmaster here to get their HR broken. So they'll actually probably be the equivalent of Hunter Rank 500 and beyond, but they're still sitting at 8 because for some reason they decide that it's more fun to stay locked at HR 8. To me, that's not fun at all, because it's difficult to actually measure your progress unless you've got a Hunter Rank attached to it. It's also difficult to derive some form of satisfaction from continuing to play the game if you're locked at HR 8. Again, if you're playing a game, you posting, just fucking relax, man. Just fucking relax. It's relaxed hunting. Don't interrogate me. Maybe I'm just attaching an unintended... you know what I mean. Anyway, the point is, I'm just trying to keep on the previous thought that I had. Yeah, if you were used to how things used to be before you had HR breaks, so in other words, first and second gen, that's fair enough. But if you've got the option, if you've actually got the option to HR break and then have a Hunter rank to follow, you know, a number to see constantly ascend as you continue to play the game, why choose not to have that? It doesn't make any sense to me. Conrad has arrived, which is good to see. Let's do 3 Rathalos. So that means we've only got one more person to join the room before we've got a full house, which I'm happy to see. Whether that's the guy who said that he'll be back later or someone else, it doesn't really concern me. As long as we get some people back. Alright, so I'm assuming someone's gone and posted triple Rathalos. He was in my list. If he's in someone else's list, then that's fine. We're going to use Gunlance, and probably Dragon Gunlance, whatever that ends up being. Let's use Gen Mortalis. I usually use the Silver Rathalos Gunlance. Again, I keep going to talk to the fan. See, I'm used to having a tripod sort of off to my left, but there's something that somewhat resembles a tripod also in that direction, so I end up, you know, going to talk to the fan instead of the fucking webcam. It's ridiculous. Anyway, the situation is that I do usually use the Silver Rathalos Gunlance and not this, but the Silver Rathalos Gunlance has a little bit too generic of a design for my liking, just visually speaking. Obviously, in terms of stats, I do prefer the Silver Rathalos Gunlance. That is why I usually use it. But this Gunlance is pretty cool looking. I do, for some reason, actually have another Dragon Gunlance. It's the Ancient Dragon Gunlance. Or is it the Rusted one? I don't remember. Unfortunately, these guys are already ready to go. I would have liked to have just put on my fan and then just relax a little bit and cool down before starting the next hunt, but these guys, both of them, are quite eager to hunt, so I won't hold them up. We'll get going now. Fucking hell. You know, this Buckfut guy is extremely keen. Extremely keen. I don't know if you saw him, but when he joined my room, he immediately went to the quest board. And when I didn't post within 30 seconds of him standing at the quest board, he walked away from it, asked me if I was posting, and then, you know, went back to the quest board. I went to the quest giver, and because I didn't post a quest within 30 seconds, or less actually, of him asking that question, he walked over to the quest giver to see if I was choosing a quest, then went back. And now, as you could see, pretty much as soon as I readied up, instant departure. He's fucking keen. He's really fucking keen. I'm getting aggressed by this Ludroth. It's incredible. Again, I named the room Relaxed Hunting for a reason. It's so that we don't have people who are so highly strung that they need to behave in that sort of way. I suppose you can just choose to ignore it. Oh, I don't have any nullberries, surprisingly. I definitely need to restock on those. But yeah, you can choose to ignore them. I mean, what's he gonna do? Leave? He's got nowhere else to go, so he can fucking relax. But yeah, that level of impatience is slightly annoying, but it is what it is. It's just how some people are. Conrad is dead. What are you doing, man? What's going on with these people? Tri-players, my fucking ass. It's just a Rathalos, man. Yeah, it is, that was a good flashback. It is nice to be using this gun lance again. I have not used it in a long time. I'd say at least 3 years. I was supposed to lower the volume of my speakers, but I forgot to do that because I'm stupid. I suppose I was just distracted by the task at hand, which was remaking the room and getting everyone else on board. I'll try to get a Wyvern fire off soon. Now here we go. Yeah, I'll try to get this on the face. Or on whatever. Apparently I got it on the wing, which was quite effective. Doing quite well for the start of this fight. I'm going to carve this just because I will forget to carve it if I don't. I don't really know what I want from it, but I'm carving it anyway. How does this guy keep getting... or how does this monster keep getting knocked out of the air so consistently? That's incredible. This Buckfuck guy is obviously getting these slime explosions and reaching a flinch threshold on this monster constantly. That's slime for you. Of course, he's using the sword and shield, so that's going to be applying slime very frequently. Not too bad. I really shouldn't be carving this guy regularly. Well, when I say regularly, I mean as one would typically do. Standard. I don't need Rathalos materials. Naharbor really are so much. For a second I thought, because I had lost sight of Buck Fun, I thought that he'd actually jumped down to Area 5. That would have been ridiculous. What I was going to say was that Naharbor really are so much bigger than Vespoid. They're just physically wider and larger. It's strange though, people are probably used to Vespoids from 5th gen now. What is going on, man? If you're going to drop bombs, you have to kill the Naharbor first. That's step 1. Although you're not a tri-player, so maybe I won't blame you for not knowing that. There we go. See if I can get my Wyvern fire out. Yes, I can. It's not good to be thrown away from the monster that far during a trap, but whatever. I don't know if you could hear that, but that was my washing machine beeping to say that it's had completed a load. I might actually take a few minutes during this live stream at some point to go and hang that up because it's already 2 PM and I do want to take advantage of the daytime and the daytime heat to dry my stuff. Oh. Get away from that fireball that was coming my way. Yeah, I much prefer using this gun lance because it is so much more visually exciting to look at compared with the Silver Rathalos gun lance. It's really boring looking. This is a normal gun lance, isn't it? Like normal shot time. In which case my heavy shots here are quite good. Buckfart is... wait, no. Was it him who threw that flash bomb? He's putting a lot more effort into the fight than I am anyway. You will notice that I never flash bomb Rathalos, and that's not because I don't understand that it's beneficial to do so, it's just because I don't want to take the time to bring flash bombs and to use them. I'm just too lazy. I'm a very casual hunter. I'm sure most of you who have watched me play for any length of time, like perhaps even for an extended period of time, will be able to attest to that. I just bring loadouts and I don't drop traps very often, I don't throw flash bombs very often, I just get in there and hit the monster. It's because I'm lazy. I just couldn't be bothered anymore. I'm a very casual hunter. Having said that though, I don't, you know, specifically employ strategies or do things to make the fight harder for everyone or to... You know, I don't do things that are literally ineffective, if that makes sense. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't pass up opportunities to deal more damage, if that makes sense. So if someone turns up with a totally inappropriate loadout, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm a casual hunter, so I don't care. I do care, because there's a difference between bringing something shit and not taking an opportunity when it's available. An opportunity like, I don't know, putting down a trap, because you can always drop a trap if you feel the need to. Sorry. I was aiming it up, and I hoped that that would actually send the explosion away from him, but it sadly was too wide of an explosion to avoid hitting him. Now. So it seems there is a burning effect with the heavy shot, but I don't think there is a burning effect with the wyvern fire. What I mean to say is that the area of the monster that was impacted by the shot doesn't have a burning effect to mark where you've hit it with a wyvern fire, but it seems to be the case with shelling. I'm actually going to observe that more carefully. I want to get in there and do a wyvern fire, but I don't think I've got the time. Wait for the next knockdown. Come on. Waiting for a flinch. Oh, that's a tail cut. I should keep carving the tails. I don't think I actually carved the last one. Well, whatever. I'm not able to test my theory. One of my complaints about... Yeah, it was probably an issue with Portable Third. Because basically, going from strategies like Gunlance shelling in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite to Portable Third, I compare them because they're both on the PSP, released about a year or two from one another. In Freedom Unite, every single shell that you shoot will be marked on the monster by a burning effect. But then in Portable Third there is no burning effect, but I think they've actually restored the burning effect here. Not only does it help to see where you've actually impacted the monster with the shot, it can also be helpful to know if you even got the damage off at all. So if you were a little far away from the monster, it's helpful to know if you succeeded in dealing the damage or not. I'll put my fan on. I'm not going to go and... Yeah, see, I only need to do that for about a minute to just cool me down a little bit. The sound of it's probably a bit annoying. Or maybe it's not that bothersome to you guys, but it's bothersome to me if I watch it back because I will notice it. Not just because I know about it, but just because I'm a little more observant when it comes to things that are substandard. And whether that be on an audio level or a visual level, doesn't matter. I'm a little more observant. So, oh, that's another gold crown small. Wow. That must be... Okay, we have found the shortest possible Rathalos. I have twice fought the shortest possible Rathalos because, look at that, my best is a 1543.230 centimeter Rathalos, and this was not an update for my best, yet this run is exactly the same measurement, so I guess it is impossible to get a smaller Rathalos than that. I didn't notice which of the three that we fought was that size, but apparently one of them was super small. Good to know. Of course, we can just take turns, I don't mind. It doesn't really bother me one way or another. It is expected that he's going to post whatever he wants very well. What's the common weakness? I think it's fire. Yeah, fire is the common weakness here. Thunder is the primary when it comes to Nagakuga in 3rd generation and beyond, but it is still a solid secondary weakness. What I'm going to do is I'm going to... Again, I'm talking to the fan instead of you. Fuck me, I'm just not used to having another thing there. I'm going to go and lower the volume of my speakers and I'll be back in just a sec. For those who weren't noticing the fan noise before, maybe going from actual silence to hearing it will make it clearer to you. I'll turn it off in a sec. I'll select a loadout, then it's going off. Because it's distracting. I'll bring the Babel Spear. I feel like using that. Wherever it is. Lost Babel, there we are. Very good. Get air conditioning, Doomlink. Well, no, actually. No. I shan't. Hope you guys have been able to handle the weight, Conrad and Buckfut. Don't know about Conrad, but Buckfut is definitely eager for maximum speed, quest organization and preparation. So, yeah. How about this Wrath Medulla? Well, we need to sell it. I actually wasn't expecting to have 99 of those, but I suppose you can get it in high rank as well, so it makes sense that I've got a lot. Alright, off we go. Happy to use this lance. It's a good one. Good not just in a stats sense. It's visually very attractive, and when you use Awaken with it, it's pretty good. It's not incredible, but it's good enough. 602 attack with 250 fire. My sharpness +1. Sharpness level is very good. So, yeah, I like this lance. I believe it existed in 2nd generation. I don't know about 1st. Pretty sure it existed in 2nd. But I never used it in 2nd. It looked a little different in 2nd. It was a lot uglier than this. But definitely using it with Fire Awaken was something that originated back in Tri. Tri, of course, being the first game to have Awaken. Oh god. I'm using Lance, I understand that, but fucking hell. It's very annoying. I do like the range of this Lance as well. Also like the needle-like shape of it. Oh wow. Have not seen the purple Ludroth longsword used in a long time. Wow. Not a bad choice of weapon. I think fully upgraded it's fine. Don't think it's particularly weak. The sharpness probably sucks, but yeah. Would like to cut that tail. You see, I don't like it when you unreservedly swing your longsword in my direction. You had every opportunity to reposition so that it didn't risk hitting me, but you just didn't fucking do that. In my opinion, when you're using a longsword like that, you don't get a pass from me. I don't sit there and say, oh, it's alright, he's not paying attention. No, fuck you. You have a responsibility to not be fucking up your teammates with your stupid, mindless weapon. I understand that sometimes it's totally unavoidable when you're doing your spirit combo. Yes, it's going to hit people, but if you're doing your bloody overhead swing, the least you can do is check to see if you're lining up with a teammate. It's like when, you know, it feels like it's just you and the monster, and then all of a sudden, a longsword user enters your frame from not attacking the monster to attacking the monster, and they are right on your position. Right on your position with an overhead swing. Those people can go and fuck themselves. I'm serious. Who would put up with that? Certainly not me. But those people are literally the kind of hunter that gives longsword a bad name. Yes, the weapon type of longsword is fairly unforgiving, and by its very nature, unideal for multiplayer hunts. But seriously, it's probably more to do with the community that the longsword is hated as much as it is. Because yeah, of course the spirit combo will catch a few teammates while you're swinging it around, but I actually find the spirit combo to be less likely to hit me than some prick just doing an overhead swing on my position. These guys might be correct, but oh, that is true. It is Nagakuga before Lagyu Cruz. Okay. I thought it was Lagyu. It's not like I can fucking check the order. Check this out. We've been over this before, but oh yeah, objectives 1 of 3. And then a huge blank space, as if there is actually room for the monsters to be listed. Oh, but we're not going to tell you that for literally no reason. There's no fucking reason why in this game they don't tell you. It makes no sense whatsoever. They've even got the space there to list the monsters, but they choose not to. Why? It's fucking dumb. There's nothing wrong with putting it there. Again, there's a fine balance between good gameplay and not spoon-feeding the hunter all the information they need to know. There's a line, there's a balance to be struck, but that's not actually how you do it. You're going too far in the direction of just making it unnecessarily unfriendly to the user. Anyway. I will complain about some things in this game, and that is one of them. I was going to get hit, inevitably, though. Yeah, fine. Fuck you. Damn it. I had my switch crop on. Because the Switch has a different aspect ratio to what would be considered a standard fucking aspect ratio, because the Switch is a piece of garbage designed by a company that simply doesn't give a shit. I have to have a special little crop when I'm recording the Switch, and that was actually cutting into this very standard 16:9 ratio 1080p video feed. So, there you go. Yes, Crapcom. Or as I have taken to calling them, Shitcom. Why make it cutesy? Just say it how it is. Shitcom. Fuck them, idiots. Anyway. Shitcom and Ninshitdo. Yeah, it's getting real creative now. Got any others, Doomlink? I'll let you know. Now it's time for Lagyu Cruz. I eagerly await the opportunity to beat on this creature. Shittendo is better than Ninshitdo, I will I will admit. So yes, I'd say that's better. A lot of Japanese companies are just like, we do what we want, fuck off. They don't really try to... That was stupendous positioning of a shock trap. Just stupendous, because that's something I've always complained about. Well, not complained about, but made note of. It's the fact that underwater here, it's very unclear as to where you should drop a trap for Lagyu Cruz when he spawns, but that guy had it down. I don't even know where your points of reference are here, but he's obviously found some, and he can put the trap roughly where the monster's going to come to a halt after entering the area. Because you have to remember that the monster can't actually enter the trap until he is a certain distance into the area. Even if we can traverse that area, if that makes sense. The monster almost has an invulnerability period to the environment. And then you have to actually find the spot where that invulnerability disappears, and then, yeah, that guy knows where it is, and I can appreciate that. I sense that Buckfutt, despite being incredibly impatient by nature, is probably using a second or third account. And that's probably why he has kept himself at HR8. Don't really know why he would bother, but no dear. There's our multi-hit special. Thank you for the life powder. Yeah, Buckfutt is definitely playing very well. It's not just, he is displaying not just an experience with Monster Hunter, but an experience with this specific Monster Hunter. So, it's definitely not his first character. Either that, or he is just absorbing information faster than your average person because of a previous experience with Monster Hunter. I don't know. We can theorize all day, but the chances are that it's not his first fucking account. That's the most likely scenario. Alright, I'm way off target here. I can make an attempt to hit this monster, but you can see I don't really have the stamina for it. That was the most important attack to get off, the thrust at the end of the charging. That's what we really wanted. I don't know what damage that deals, like if we were to compare that to, for example, a charging thrust, or a... not charging as in a running attack, I mean charging as in this thing here. Oh, we've got a capture. That's fine. If that's what you want, then I don't mind. I don't think I have a pickaxe, do I? No, I don't. That's alright. I don't really need to mine that anyway. I'm getting used to playing Try. Every time I'm here in Try, I need to go and mine some materials, because as most of you are probably aware, I am building a new character for that game. Thanks, got to go, says Conrad. Very well. Conrad says, have fun. I imagine that Strife will join in the next 30 minutes or so, because he kept on talking about how he will be back. If he keeps talking about returning, then it must mean that it'll be within the hour of him. Like, he's not going to take more than an hour, in other words, from when he needed to go and do something. So, yeah, unless he expects me to be hanging around for hours, I don't know. He actually asked me to tell Buckfutt that he will be back soon, or back later, I don't know. To me that translates as, I have to step away for now, but I will definitely be back within a reasonable length of time. That seems okay. Sheathing +4, stun +8, but what's stun again? That's stun resistance, isn't it? Yeah, stun resistance. It's not too bad. Not an awful talisman. Just not one that I think I'll ever make use of. In fact, I definitely won't make use of it. Yeah, so I believe stun actually leads to the stun-proof skill, which is just a nice skill to have if you really don't like being stunned by monsters, but I don't think it's worth having that over a damage skill, personally. Stun is just an inconvenience, more than anything else. I'll delete these VE tickets. Victory in Europe tickets. I don't need them at all. Let's do this again! No. Fate and Fire. Rachel has joined the room. Fortunately, before I actually informed the team as to what the next hunt will be. Buckfutt seems quite... I called him Buckfutt. No, it's Fuckbutt. I don't know. We'll just call him Buckfutt. Anyway, the point is that he seems quite happy to just use Brachydios weapons, so good for him. I am going to use something that deals poison damage. Maybe we'll go longsword. What's my... Do I have a poison longsword? I must, surely. Wow. I have the enfeebling glaive, but I think even fully upgraded it's not very good, so... Maybe I can forge one. Ah. Interestingly... Oh, okay, that's it. I thought that was actually going to be the... Why am I pressing all of the wrong buttons? So I was under the impression that this was going to be the Giganox longsword, but it's not. God, do I really have nothing else to use for poison longsword? Yeah, Eclipse Saber would have poison. That looks really good, actually. Unless it maxes out the fucking sharpness like all the other weapons. Fuck that. I'm not interested in that at all. Alright, I'm sure I have some other poison weapons to use. Let's go and find them. I'm in a poison mood. Poison sword and shield. I know that we've got the... Let's check to see what we've got. Hellnox Epee? Yeah, why not? Epee, I think it's called. Or pronounced. Status. I don't think we can actually use wide range with this. Wide range is being achieved. Oh no, I think we've got a single slot on Hellnox Epee. I would guarantee I've already got the decoration attached. There we do. There we go, yeah we do. I just combined two possible phrases together. Very good. I'm happy to use this. This is very nice. It is annoying when... It's the reason why I sometimes combine multiple possible phrases into one end result is because of... It gives you a window into my mind and just how chaotic it is, all of the different possibilities that I'm running through at any given time. And sometimes I will literally say something and then correct it with the exact same meaning, but just in a slightly more articulate way, after having already said the slightly less articulate version of what I was going to say. It's just because it's my way of saying, no, if I had been given literally a fraction of a second longer to consider what I was going to say before I said it, then I would have actually said it this way. It's just, it's sort of constantly editing what I'm saying in my mind, so yeah. Sorry, I guess. Absolutely beautiful loadout visually from Rachel there. Unfortunately, the Ivory... Well, maybe the Ivory Lagiacruz switch axe is better than the fucking... Abyssal one, because I don't like the Abyssal at all. It's so focused on raw damage and not at all lightning damage that it's not really my kind of weapon. Maybe I could make the Ivory Lagiacruz switch axe. I could check its damage. I might do that. I've actually got something in OBS to check this. I'm going to check it now because otherwise I'm going to forget to do it. Where the hell is it? Never mind. For some reason it doesn't want to actually come up on the screen. I'll check another time. Doesn't matter. I don't have to look at it now. So sometimes with OBS it doesn't actually update in real time with the new windows that you've opened on your computer. It's very annoying. It's just OBS for you. It's free software. I'd happily pay for something better than OBS, but I was looking into it and I really couldn't find anything that was better necessarily. Maybe I need to do some proper research. Again, like I said, would happily pay for something better. But, yeah. I really did my level best there to evade that, but the range of that attack is unfortunately greater than one would expect. I did apply poison very quickly. To be honest, didn't try the equivalent to what you're seeing here, the Giganox Saber, as it was. Just felt a little bit weak. Just a little too weak. But here in G rank, oh, absolutely beautiful. Great damage, and especially here with status attack +2, we're looking at 490 poison with 352 end raw with my current loadout. Just lovely. So in other words, deals a whole lot of poison and a pretty respectable amount of raw damage as well. Oh. Let's not get caught. Oh. But yeah, I am interested to see how I feel about the Ivory Lagiacruz Switch Axe versus the Abyssal, because in most cases I'm very happy with Abyssal weapons in this game. They have lovely stats, very good. But the Abyssal Switch Axe is just crap, it's not what I like, stats-wise. So I will have a look to see if it just so happens that Ivory gives a better Switch Axe. Alright, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I would actually say personally that if you're fighting a monster that's weak to thunder, you're better off using the Ivory Lagiacruz Switch Axe. So I'm going to try and make that. I'm sure that I can because I will have accumulated all of the the Ivory Lagiacruz stuff that I need. Guaranteed. Because I did have to help Vernon with so much Ivory Lagiacruz that I'm assuming that I'm maxed out on that stuff. My concern is that I may actually have to forge the standard Lagiacruz Switch Axe from scratch using materials that I probably don't have. So yeah, that's not great. Not happy with that at all. It is a little weird to be using high-grade earplugs with Sword and Shield, but I'm not complaining. It's still good for DPS. It's not like, you know, shielding a roar is that much better for DPS. The reason why it's better to shield a roar than to just take a roar is because it actually does push you away from the monster. So with a monster like Rathalos as an example, because we are fighting him and it's definitely a relevant example to put forward, this is a monster that is designed to keep you in place and then attack you while you're still under the effects of a roar flinch. He roars and then he flies back and hits you with a fucking fireball. Well, if you shielded the roar, you don't have to worry about that. Furthermore, if you have your weapon out and you were already shielding, if you're at risk of being hit by the monster after the roar, but not as a result of being kept close to the monster, but instead, like, imagine the monster immediately runs at you after roaring, you've got your weapon out, and you do have a shield available to use. So, inevitably, it is going to be better to shield a roar than to just be affected by it and suffer the flinch consequences. Rachel knows how to use a switch axe, fortunately. Isn't doing upswings and isn't doing infinite axe jobs. That is how you use axe mode with this fucking thing. By this fucking thing, I mean the switch axe weapon type. And now for Steel Uragan. Things are moving nice and quickly with our hunts. I suppose the previous one was a little bit longer, but that was mainly because we were having to traverse a lot of distance, a lot of ground. But yeah. We'll see how we go with making the Ivory Lagiacrus switch axe. It's just the good thing about Abyssal stuff is that you can forge it outright at the first level. But, God. The Ivory stuff might have to actually upgrade from the very start, which is not nice. I'm not a fan of that at all. Oh, that's a good one. I forgot about that. Completely forgot about that. I've definitely seen it before because it has thrown me off before, where literally Steel Uragan in a multi-monster quest will spawn in a spot that he doesn't spawn anywhere else, either in steel form or standard form. In any other quest, he will spawn over there. Or start in area 7, I guess. Or, you know, just... he never spawns there, that's weird. Just have to keep on target here. There's no point completing my combo if I'm totally off target, so... cancelling my combo and then repositioning is important. Remember when I said this person never does upswings? Well, I'm being quite quickly proven wrong on that point. I got upswung and then another upswing in my direction came almost immediately after, so I don't know what the fuck's going on with this person. Rachel did, seemingly with full intention, avoid upswinging with the weapon prior to this point, and now it's on. It's time to just upswing the fuck out of this monster, which is somehow going to be helpful. It's obviously not going to be helpful at all, but to Rachel, it will be. Don't think it's helpful for both of us to be jumping in there attacking the arms. Well, at least I didn't get hit by it. The only way you can actually resist the stench effect is by having guard +2. Well, maybe guard up actually, sorry, guard up. If you have guard up and you're shielding, you will actually be able to block the stench effect. Got a limp. Again, he's one of 3 monsters. It's not a big surprise. Would like to see him die from the poison. Okay, Buck Futt wants to capture him, so we'll just leave him to do that. It's better to have only one person there if a capture is being sought. I had to make sure that my green screen did not get bumped or anything like that. Just turning on the fan a little bit. Or for a little while. I'm not turning on the fan less than I was before in terms of force. But, yeah. Just cool myself down a little bit again. I usually don't have my fan set up there anyway, but today's the exception to the norm. Because it's very hot. I'll turn off the fan once we get to the reward screen. I do hope you've all been enjoying the recording so far. I do expect to have a longer recording here. The reason why is because if I do have the opportunity to continue playing, I'm going to do that. If it seems like, you know, I'm not going to be able to reasonably continue to play with people online here because everyone's gone to sleep or no one else is playing or whatever. And 2 hours have actually passed. I will just stop the live stream, but I'm happy to go for 3, perhaps even 4 hours, we'll see. Depends on how I'm feeling. Of course, we did manage to get a Rathalos mantle here. That is my 8th. Happy to see that. If I ever need one, I will have more than one. Which is reassuring in its own way. Buckfut has posted something already. Diablos 3. Well, I do need Diablos tail cases, but like I said, I'm pretty sure I have to get them from low rank or high rank. Tail case plus, as I understand it, is the drop from G rank. There's almost nothing that I could equip here to make this fun. Oh no, Hunting Horde would make it fun. Yeah, let's do that. That would make it fun. Horn. Because basically I can spend time away from actually hitting the monster to boost the damage of the team. That's helpful. Because, again, my damage is actually achieved through other people, and that will make it less... What are you doing? Are you for real? You are a genuine article of breathtaking stupidity. You are a person who is not only inexperienced, but simultaneously bereft of all common sense. Unbelievable. Anyway. Why do you assume Rachel will pass? Why would Rachel pass? Rachel is Hunter rank 6. Why on earth would Rachel pass on her turn? Basically, Alan posted and then Buckfut said, "Your turn next, Alex, because I'm guessing Rachel will pass." Smiley face. Rachel's Hunter rank 6, which is the same Hunter rank as Alan, so why would Rachel pass? Maybe he knows something I don't, but on the face of it, Rachel has things that she needs to do, and she should take that opportunity while it's here. You know, there are people to hunt with. If she's got a turn, she can post what she wants. She doesn't need to pass, because that would be unhelpful. What are we doing? I'm going to double check the songs that I can play. Yeah, I'll do hearing protection. Encoring hearing protection small should give us enough resistance to block a high grade roar. Is that right? Should be. Should be. Hearing protection small should be equivalent to earplugs, and then encoring that should give us large, which will be high grade. I don't think there's an in-between for that. Alright, off we go. What joy. I do wonder what Buckfut's Hunter rank would be if he HR broke. Like I said, his loadout just looks pretty standard HR 50 to 100. But from what I can tell, he's been playing for longer than that. If not on that account, then at least on another one. So, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. I think that's a reference. Well, it is a reference, but I think I got it right. Anyway. Let me check the order in which I'm supposed to play these notes. I obviously won't play it until Alan gets in here, despite the fact that Alan's probably just going to get here and die anyway, but whatever. Now, I think we end on purple, is that right? Yes. Alright. Let's boost the damage of the team. I don't know what Buckfutt is doing. He's just sort of standing back observing the fight. Oh, he was waiting for his opportunity to actually do that. I'm going to sleep the monster, says Rachel. You sure are. You've got sleep weapons there. Whoa. Who the fuck? Oh, Alan, of course. Alan probably hasn't seen a monster fall asleep before. Alan says, yeah. Well, whatever. Just open your fucking eyes and you won't have a problem, mate. You were actually warned that the monster was going to fall asleep. The monster was thrashing around while stuck in the ground and then went limp, and then you fucking continued attacking with a sword and shield, a weapon that requires an input for every single swing of the fucking weapon, and which is the easiest monster to stop, or the easiest weapon type to stop attacking with when you are dealing with a sleeping monster. This guy has a talent, ladies and gentlemen. He is in possession of something that I certainly don't have, and that is an acute talent for sucking at the fucking game. Anyway, you can do what you guys want. I am going to play to increase our hearing protection. Hearing protection large. Let's break these horns, shall we? Nothing wrong with that. A little bit of horn breaking. No, but seriously, this Alan guy needs to be dunked in deep water until bubbles start rising to the surface. Anyway, I'm not actually banking on a KO here, I'm just... Well, no, I will at least try to get a KO. I'm using Hunting Horn anyway, so I'm not going to be dealing a whole lot of damage. That's not great. Having to contend with wind pressure there. Is that a capture that you're going for there? It is, certainly. Certainly. Nice job, says Rachel. That was, of course, directed at everyone except for player 4, who is currently going, woo, in the chat. It's probably the first time he's succeeded in killing a fucking monster. I'm trying to click and drag myself on the screen, but you see OBS was like, no, I am terribly designed. You cannot do that right now. Fuck off. This is the thing. I don't like using OBS and then complaining about it because it's free, right? But the thing is, I would happily pay for something better. So I'm in this weird cycle where I don't actually think there's anything notably better than OBS to purchase that's actually reasonably priced. But then also, I can't complain about OBS because I'm not paying for it. It's like, oh, what am I doing? I have to just sit here and take it in the arse, I suppose. Is that the situation that we've arrived ourselves at? Arrived ourselves at is a very poorly worded sentence for anyone who needed clarification on that point. This is why I have Ironcrate earplugs. This is precisely why. It's because, actually, by the fucking looks of it, the only person who is actually going to benefit... the only person who's going to benefit... It's not that he's getting stuck in a combo and he is, you know, he's out of control. He's like, he's got a great sword. You know, the weapon's coming down no matter what. He can't stop it. Ah, no, he's using a sword and shield. He can stop attacking whenever he wants. He's just not paying attention. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. This person's using a sleep weapon. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit, man. I'm not paying any attention at all. Shit, man. I'm just playing the game. Fuck. Didn't I mention I'm an idiot? Yeah, go easy on me. I'm fucking retarded. Oh, fuck. Like, this is literally what's going on with this guy. I'm sick of it. You guys might be thinking, oh, you're being so unnecessarily abrasive, Doomlink. Well, you know what? When we finish this hunt, I'm going to go show you his armor set, and then you fucking tell me if I'm being unnecessarily abrasive. I'll show you what he has equipped for this G rank hunt at Hunter rank 6, and you fucking tell me. He's got low rank armor pieces. He's got a mixed set with, I think, 1 skill. And whether or not his weapon is high rank is, quite frankly, for the birds. I don't care. It doesn't matter. He's not going to do anything with the weapon anyway. He's too busy being fucking dead. Or, you know, at camp. Fuck me. I'm boosting his damage as we speak. Because I'm so charitable. Are you going to go and attack it? Incredible. He went and attacked it alright. Oh look, it's asleep. I'm waking it up now. Ignore him? What do you mean ignore him? Is Rachel telling Alan to ignore me, or is Rachel telling me to ignore Alan? Because it's difficult to ignore someone who is literally preventing sleep from taking place. Like, that's your strategy. He's a... whatever that is. Maybe asshole? I'm not going to count the asterisks, but, you know. What do you mean ignore him? Maybe Rachel's saying ignore me. I don't know. I think Rachel might be directing that to Alan while referring to me. I mean, Rachel can fuck off if Rachel considers me to be an asshole or whatever she's said. I'm really struggling with OBS at the moment. Well, if Rachel thought that what I've said in chat is unfriendly, imagine if she was watching the live stream. Fuck me sideways. Go for it, Alan. Go for it, buddy. Oh, king. King of the fucking pack right here. Mate, you know what? Everything the light touches is your kingdom, you motherfucker. Because you're the alpha male. You are actually at the pinnacle of hunting and the profession associated with it. You are it. If anyone wants to know where they should be heading for in their distant goals for the future, it's right there. They can literally see what it's going to be before they even reach it. It's incredible. It's like a pathway into the future. A little viewfinder. A lens with which to observe one's own future state after, you know, investing extreme effort into honing skill beyond any conceivable standard. An almost inestimable fortitude is required to reach the skill level that Alan is currently displaying to the team today. Oh, did I mention that he's stupid? Oh. No, he's not going to be continuing the hunt with us. Well, he's going to continue this hunt with us, but he's not going to be staying in the room. I think he needs a little bit of time in solo play before he hunts with other people. Some people need to be sanctioned, you see. I haven't even placed a bomb down yet. Hasn't happened. But, you know. Now, he needs to actually be put into some form of isolation from other people. And then once he reaches a certain level of competency, then he can be allowed to interact with others, by the looks of it. I believe he speaks Spanish. He described himself as something that I identify as a Spanish word, so I think he was saying that he's a hunter or he wants to hunt in Spanish. I don't know, but anyway. Looks like we have... Well, technically it would be faster to go the other way, but I'm going this way. Rachel and Alan... Wait, only Rachel is going the faster way. But the thing is, you can only go that way, or it's only a good idea to go that way if you're quick to do so. I was quick to go the long way, so I'm going to get there first. That's the situation. Alright, I'm going to attempt to capture... Wait. I'm just going to ask, because we have already captured before. Buckfut, I think. Yeah, Buckfut's going for the capture. Alan is actually not going in for the attack. He seems to realize that maybe it would be beneficial to capture the monster, or perhaps the person who posted the quest would like to capture. He is actually, from what I can tell, capable of observing and considering things beyond his current objective in the hunt, which is to press buttons and hit the monster. Lots of sleeps, yeah, not a whole lot of successful ones. I don't think we had one single sleep wake-up hit. Whether it be from bombs or something damaging, as opposed to this single attack from this guy's unupgraded Brachydios sword and shield on something that's not a weak point. Anyway.
Doomlink, you're so dramatic. The quest was over so quickly. Ugh.
Shut up. Alright. I need to get out of the screen. Nice. Hey, that's pretty good. Protection +6, defense +10. That is a pretty reasonable talisman. Not one that I'm going to use, but it's good enough. Okay. Let's get in here and remove this motherfucker from the room. Is there a language barrier? Probably. Is there an intelligence barrier? Most certainly. Remove from members. It is what it is. If I wasn't the room host, I would have just put up with him, but if I'm hosting the room, you better believe it. He's not going to be sticking around. He can inflict his ineptitude on someone else. Alright, Rachel can have a turn. I'm assuming that Rachel's not going to skip her turn, even though Buckfut seems to think that Rachel will do so. See, what gave him this idea? I actually don't know what gave him this idea. I never noticed What? Okay, I never noticed Rachel alluding to the fact that she wanted to pass her turn, but... Back to you, LX. Okay. As you do. Back to me, I guess. What do we got? What would be fun is the question that comes to mind. How about this? It's actually more substantial than the last volcano multi-hunt we did because that one included a Volvidon. This one has all tier 3 monsters. So very good. I will bring a lance. I'm in the mood for a lance. We want a dragon lance because that is the common elemental weakness here. Just thinking what would be a good choice. Do I have an awakened dragon? I do. I have the Fiendish Tower, as it was called back in Try. The good old Fiendish Tower. I laugh because there was a joke associated with that back then. But it's alright. But yeah, the Fiendish Tower is now called the Nero's Atrocity. I don't know why they relate Emperor Nero to Deviljho, but they have actually done that fairly consistently. A lot of the Deviljho weapons, or at least some of them, not just this one, but others as well, mention Nero. Or Nero. I don't know if it's Nero or what. I'm not really up on my fucking Latin pronunciation. Particularly not my, you know, old Latin pronunciation, but anyway.
I'm gonna say Nero. Nero, mate. Emperor Nero.
Could even say Nero.
Nero, mate.
But yeah. It's not actually agreed among learned historians that Nero was even bad. You know? It was the whole Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Well, we don't know if that's actually something that can be substantiated. But anyway. In other words, I don't know if I agree with the association. Why are we calling this pickle-esque dinosaur thing Nero? Or why are we likening Emperor Nero? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I am indeed overthinking it, and it's time for me to shut up. Oh, here we go. Oh, I nearly had my plans rudely interrupted by an intervening Rhinopolis. But yeah, using the... Oh, God. I think I managed to block both the Rhinopolis and the Uragan. But yeah, I would have been able to use the Elatrion Lance to a great deal, or a great degree of effect, but this weapon's a little bit more fun. At least in my opinion. Fucking hell, man. You could at least take a little bit more care to not do an attack right on my position. Jesus! Fucking hell. At this stage, I need to keep the hell away from everyone as best I can. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. I don't really need to heal yet, I don't think. Look how many times Uragan adjusted himself before attacking. That's actually off-putting. To have him adjust that much. As you can see, I'm opting for high DPS at the moment. Oh. Not high enough sharpness for that. I don't particularly care if we kill him in the lava. We're not at risk of that. I don't think we're dealing enough damage to do that, but I imagined in my head that it would be annoying if he did die in the lava, and then I actually thought about it and realized that I don't care. Because I don't need his materials. I'm not doing this quest for materials. I'm doing it for HRP and for general enjoyment. It's a multi-monster hunt, and that's what's most fun to do. Because essentially in what would be only a little bit longer than a standard hunt anyway, you can fight 3 different monsters. There's more variety, and it's just generally more engaging. Oof. I do have guard up, I think. Oh, I don't have guard up. Okay. I do have guard up. Then why the fuck did I not successfully guard that? You saw that. I was actually using a counter maneuver there. What the... What's going on? How did I fail to... Oh, whatever. How did I fail to guard that? With guard boost. If someone could watch that back and give me an explanation as to how I failed to guard that, I would be very appreciative, because that makes no sense. I would completely understand if I didn't have guard boost, but I do. So, what's going on? Alright, our next hunt is Agnaktor, who will presumably spawn in this area. I would like to mention, by the way, that it gives me pleasure to be recording Free Ultimate again. It has been a little while. I may actually check in the time that I have between now and the spawning of the Agnaktor to check to see when I last did a Free Ultimate recording. It was a month ago. I was thinking it might have been a little longer ago than that, but... Yeah, it was Live Hunts 211. That was the last one. I need to sharpen up. I started purple sharpness with this weapon. Just had to make a slight adjustment there. I bumped my boom stand, so... As a result, I had a little bit of my green screen visible. Oops. Whoa. What are you doing, Agnaktor? I'm not used to you moving like that, quite frankly. I've been playing a lot of Try recently, so... Yeah. I'm used to a slightly more docile version of this monster. Here we go, this is a good opportunity to hit him. You can always tell when he's doing this attack because you get a bit of rumbling under the ground to warn you of his intention to do a big laser beam attack. Sorry. I never thought that I'd be standing here genuinely apologizing for flinching a longsword user with a lance, but I did actually just genuinely apologize and I almost regret it. I did use the counter maneuver to block that too, but here I am getting fucking hit. I actually didn't mean to dive, I just meant to roll normally. Thanks for hitting me. I hate you, Agnaktor. I really don't like this monster, have I ever mentioned that? Chris has joined the room. Hello, Chris. Here we go. Go for it, mate. Go for gold. Do all of your attacks, and then when you come up again, I'll be able to hit you without difficulty because you're no longer hardened. That will be quite beneficial to me. it should be easier to break all of his legs because he has lower health. Oh, that's a shame. Would have liked to have broken more than that, but fine. I will sharpen up. Buck thought about it and realized, no, if he goes from area 6 to 5, then that's going to be the long way. Better to go this way. Not that it really matters. We've got some time before Rathalos spawns in 3, but still. Let's kill some Melings. There we go. Rachel has opted for an ice weapon. Pretty shit choice, considering that ice is not very damaging to an Azure Rathalos at all, and is actually not very damaging to either Akhenator or Uragan. You'd be better off going with water or dragon. Dragon is actually the best, considering that dragon is pretty good for all 3 of these monsters. Particularly Rathalos, obviously. Someone's trying to trap the tail, apparently. I'm joking. I mean, obviously, they thought that he was going to spawn a little further that way, but that's not how it happened. Good flash bomb. Oh dear. I suppose it was a good flash bomb, but what wasn't so good was that it chained into a fucking trap like that. In other words, the effectiveness of the flash bomb was reduced because, yeah. Self-explanatory, I don't need to explain it further. Oop. Just keeping myself magnetized to the head at the moment. Whatever you're doing, I'll ask you to stop. Because, no, for God's sake. Get a cup of tea, everyone. Whoa. What are you doing, man? You can just land? Thank you. You didn't land, but one of my teammates forced you to do so. That was very quick and clean. Except for the fact that the monster was flying around, prolonging the inevitable. Or rather, prolonging the fight and delaying the inevitable. Very good. Get that fan on again. Again, it's just to cool me down a little bit. It doesn't have to remain on for very long. Just for long enough to lower my body temperature a little bit. And then we can continue on. I'm going to take about 2 minutes after this hunt to go and hang up my washing. And then, yeah. Yeah, it shouldn't take more than that. More time than that. Well, that's my second Rathalos mantle in one hunt. Despite the fact that I was not even close to trying to get Rathalos mantles. It's so funny, isn't it? You could be desperately trying to get Rathalos mantles. Like, actually intentionally hunting Rathalos monsters. And here I am, not even trying to hunt Rathalos monsters, and not trying to get mantles, and I got 2 in the space of about an hour and a half. So, that's pretty sad. It is what it is. What's your fucking name? Alright, I'll be back in a moment. I'm back. Seems that Chris still hasn't joined. He does rather concerningly have an away icon currently active. So, hopefully he's actually here. Yo Chris, says Buckfut. It's good of him to ask because, again, we've got an away icon. So if I look at network options, status, away is what he currently has active. And he's been unresponsive, so hopefully he's actually playing the damn game. I think we have, fucking, damn it. We've got Diablos again. It was standard Diablos and black Diablos in a single hunt. I'll just use something. I'll probably use slime. What's a random slime weapon to use? How about... Well, I never use slime greatsword, and I don't think I'm going to start. Could use lordly death cap. That's a bit random, isn't it? Yeah, I could do combo greatsword, lordly death cap with a status set. How about that? 990. Oh, hold on. I think it's capped out. Oh, no, it's not. My poison value is 1,190. Wow. Yeah, forget fucking charging this greatsword. Doomlink, you can't actually charge. Well, hold on. Does this thing have a slot? It doesn't. That's okay. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. This is great. 1,190 poison value. You could just fucking combo greatsword with this thing. Not a problem. It's just a bit of fun, you know? I'll let these guys do whatever they're doing. Chris is using a thunder weapon on Diablos. Don't know. Can't say I'm hugely supportive of that choice of weapon, but... Buckfut says, watch for sleep, please, Chris. Yeah. You would be hard-pressed to do a worse job than the last guy when it comes to actually observing for sleep. I think that last guy just simply didn't understand what the sleep was for. He sees the monster falling asleep and is like, whoa, wake up! You know, that was his reaction. He's like, wake up! I'm here to hunt! Unbelievable. But that was the situation. Yeah, so there are certain situations where using combo greatsword, in other words, attacking with your greatsword without charging, is beneficial. One such example is to actually apply status. We have 1,190. Okay? Like, that's a big deal. That's a lot of poison for people who are used to, you know, 600 being an incredibly high value. This is almost double that. So, I mean, that's probably what's going to really hit it home. This is almost double 600 poison. So, it's out of this world. It's a lot. Both heads, both cap if we can. Well, this is not really the sort of weapon that I would be using to break the horns of a Diablos, and Chris is using a Thunder Longsword, so... not great. Here we go. This is what I was trying to show you guys before. So you can actually see how the Abyssal Lagucrus and the Ivory Lagucrus switch axes stack up against each other. My assessment of what you're seeing on the screen now is that the Ivory Lagiacrus switch axe is better than the Abyssal one if you're going to fight a monster that is actually weak to thunder. Why is my controller being unresponsive? What's going on? Oh, I was really confused. I couldn't hear the sound of the horn going, so I was like, why is my character not moving? It's because we are departing on a quest. Anyway. Wait. Oh, that was covering me. That was actually covering me. That's an oversight if ever I've seen one. That's how we want it. There we go. So we don't want it covering me, but we don't want it to be behind the game. No. Struggling with the basics at the moment. Anyway. Rachel just ditched us, is that right? Did that actually happen? What? No, 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 no. No, Rachel was departed with... Oh, no, no, hold on. Did Rachel actually abandon? I just want to make sure that Rachel actually readied up, because if Buckfut departed without Rachel, I will abandon and kick Buckfut from the room. Okay, good. Apparently abandoned and left. Very well. Because that was very important. If Buckfut decided that he didn't want to wait for Rachel to join and instead departed without Rachel, I would have just removed him. We're currently dealing with 2 Diablos in the same area, I think. Which is not good. Surprisingly, we've already got... Well, actually, maybe not so surprisingly, we've already got a horn broken. Buckfut is using... slime damage. Don't actually charge that, please. I should pretty much have 100% chance of getting poison off on this monster when I hit him. Or her. Him, in this case. We'll say her for Black Diablos. Oh no, not 100%. That sucks. Oh, I see. It doesn't actually affect the frequency of status being applied. It just affects the amount of status that it applies when it does actually proc. Fair enough. God. The legs landed exactly on my position, which was pretty bad. Not great. That would obviously hurt. I can appreciate that. Alright. It's a little bit awkward to be attacking with this weapon, generally speaking, but, you know, I do at least have the ability to resist roars. That's one good thing. I'll be charging with the greatsword when I have poison in effect, but if I don't, then I will be doing combo greatsword, because there's no point doing combo greatsword, because there's nothing to apply at that point. I'm not at all used to non-focus greatsword charging. It's really weird. It's so slow, oh my god. It reminds me of Modern Warfare 2 when you're so used to having Sleight of Hand Pro or whatever it was, and then you go and change your perk and then you're scoping in super slowly. Oh, so slow. People used to say that made you more accurate with quickscoping when you... They would call it marathon sniping because marathon was deemed to be the best alternative. But, yeah, I didn't find that I was more accurate. It was more fun to be accurate, but it didn't make me more accurate. No. Apparently every update for Modern Warfare 2 broke the game more and more for the new version. That's a shame. Sorry to hear that. I was actually really intending to get it, but I changed my mind. I really changed my mind. I don't consider that to be a priority. What the fuck is Chris doing? Why are you soloing that one, man? Get the fuck over here. Don't be a little bitch. You fucking died. So you can come over here and fight this fucking monster, asshole. Oh my god. What a motherfucker. I'm not here to hunt with 2 people. I'm here to hunt with 3. In fact, I departed on this quest expecting for there to be fucking 4 people in this quest. So, you know, I'm pretty unimpressed to see that Chris is trying to solo that one. We'll see how I feel about it, Potato. I would get the Modern Warfare 2 remake if it were heavily discounted. I would do that. But I haven't played a new Call of Duty since Black Ops 2 came out, so I think I'm going to feel a little bit weird about it. A little bit weird. There we go, got a capture. I'm assuming my poison did something, but... Chris, I really did intend to make this clear when I explained it before. When I mentioned... Well, no. Let me rephrase that. When I mentioned the fact that you had already died, what I was trying to say was that if you already died, why are you trying to solo this monster? Because by the sounds of it, you don't play very well. And then he goes and dies while soloing the monster. Why are you doing that? Fucking stop, man. Just hunt with us. We're playing multiplayer so we can play multiplayer. It really is as simple as that. So what are you doing, man? Stop causing the team to run the risk of failure just because you're playing like an absolute douchebag. It's been a good 12 years since I said douchebag, but anyway. Seriously, like, what are you doing? Well, no, new Call of Duty's feeling more realistic isn't necessarily bad. I very much enjoyed Battlefield. When, you know, COD players were like, ugh, Battlefield's icky, it's so realistic and stuff. Well, you know, I have always enjoyed Battlefield. Since Bad Company 2. I didn't play any Battlefields before Bad Company 2, but that was the first one, and then the one that I played the most was 3. So, yeah. I would imagine that if I enjoyed Battlefield, then playing a more realistic Call of Duty as they are now would not be an issue, just on that point. I'm not talking about Battlefield in, as far as large, you know, teams going up against each other. I'm talking about realism versus, you know, as you describe it, a more arcade-style experience. Things like weapon sway, weapon recoil, the way bullets travel, destruction of environments, things like that. You know, that was something that Battlefield was doing long before Call of Duty ever even considered doing. So that's what I'm used to with Battlefield. So if I enjoyed that, then I should like a more realistic Call of Duty. That would make sense. I still don't have destructible environments. That's pretty sad. I'm not even trying and I'm still applying poison to this monster. It's pretty funny. Yeah, this greatsword with status attack +2 is honestly disgusting. 1,190. Unbelievable. Oh, I did actually press the button to evade then, but it didn't go through very well. Oh, that was a very quick departure from this area. It was immediate. This female creature is seemingly incensed. Ow. It's not a good idea for me to heal like that. Literally standing on top of another hunter while healing. What a stupid idea. The reason is because there is a higher chance of us being targeted because we're standing together, and I'm not only raising the risk of being hit myself, but I'm also drawing risk towards a hunter who has already been attacked. It's the worst fucking strategy in the world. Alright, we've got an exhausted monster. I need to start applying poison again, so let's do that. Can you not? What are you doing? Fucking Christ. That was a good voice crack, but seriously, like... God. Doing it first gen style, boys. Look at that. Yeah! That's the way you do it. And she's fucking dead. Not too bad. It was sub 15, that's the important thing. Alright, so we have had someone named Aska waiting for us. Get that fan back on. Go on. Doomlink struggles with fan remote. Sony released a $220 controller last week. Let me guess. It's a DualShock 5 controller, but without all the problems with the manufacturing that leads it to break down within 3 months. That's how much you got to spend for it to work, guys. Sony. Woo! Sony. 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 Fucking cocksuckers. So apparently it's what I just described, and it has 2 extra buttons on the back, or on the side, or no, you said on the back. So great, 2 extra buttons, and it just has better build quality. Beautiful. That's just what I want in life. What was that? $220, which is presumably US dollars. I mean, that is obscene. That is obscene. Is that what good manufacturing costs today? $220 for a controller. How about you forget the 2 buttons, because you know what that is, don't you? You know what the 2 buttons are. What that is to make it look as if it's slightly appropriate for it to be costed at $220. I would guarantee you that those 2 extra buttons would not add anything to the cost, and if they did add anything to the cost, it would be negligible. They've just added the 2 buttons there so that it feels like it at least has more functionality. They can't come out with a controller that is exactly the same but more reliable and then have it cost $220. That is ridiculous. They need to at least have some extra features. But like I said, I don't think 2 extra buttons is going to fucking add much cost onto the production. Well, yeah. I mean, we've discussed this before. Oh, is it called DualSense, not DualShock 5? I've been calling it DualShock 5. I mean, I suppose if I'm calling it DualShock 5, everyone knows what I'm talking about, but still, if it's DualSense instead of DualShock 5, then fair enough. But, yeah, like I said before, the PS4 controller and the PS5 controller were immediately worse compared with the PlayStation 3 controller in terms of build quality, because obviously to continue to have the controller be affordable, yet to have a touchscreen and all this additional functionality, like, what do they call it, haptic feedback or whatever, to have all this additional functionality yet keep the controller affordable, what do you have to skimp out on? The manufacturing standards of the controller that had been previously established and considered to be the norm. This is why they are breaking down and failing in the way that they are. Why do I need a touchscreen on my controller? I don't play any games that use a touchscreen. Oh, okay, so I'm not playing the game that was advertised with the console at launch that is totally a pointless gimmick that means nothing and has no real value. Okay, well, too bad. Looks like all of the controllers need to have that functionality and that feature. It's pathetic. Hello, Vaporate. Vaporite. Vaporiate. It must be Vaporiate. I've worked it out on my own. You don't need to try and explain it. Welcome to the live stream. Because usually I am indeed, at least as far as you're concerned, not live. Welcome. I do love welcoming people to me live because a lot of people just have to, appreciate what has already been recorded in the past and they can't actually contribute or participate. But if you're here watching live, it's happening right now. So there you go. I got a yes, which means that Vaporiate must be the correct pronunciation. One hopes so. Okay. I don't remember what was put on the board, but I suppose the catch-all solution, which is to use raw damage, is going to suffice. How about this? After my previous experience with using the Lordly Death Cap without focus and indeed employing what is for the most part a suboptimal strategy to use it, which is combo greatsword, I should actually use a real greatsword for a change. Or just to cleanse my offended conscience. Well, I mean, that's fair enough. Is it just because you personally didn't have time to catch me live, or is it because the time that I go live just doesn't work for you? My guess is it's probably a case of just not going live when it's appropriate for you, because I almost never go live at this time these days. The only time that I go live at this time of day is when it's a weekend, and I haven't been doing that recently. I need to try and do that more, to actually properly go live on Saturdays. It's Friday evening / very early Saturday morning for most of you, but yeah, for me it's Saturday afternoon, and it's not that difficult for me to record at this time, but it's certainly beneficial for you guys, and I really should do what I can to undertake to make that a consistent thing with my live streams, to always go live on a Saturday noon and afternoon. Oh, okay. Well, it is what it is. Glad you were able to catch me live. The only problem with YouTube, I mean, maybe some people do prefer to watch me live than watch me after the fact, but the main problem with YouTube is not the fact that it's not live, it's the fact that the video quality is just horrendous. It's absolutely terrible. As soon as more than one thing is happening on the screen at a fast pace, it's over. It's absolutely over. YouTube can't handle it. It just turns into a garbled mess of pixels. What used to be a recognizable human being in the bottom left corner of the screen has now turned into some sort of white and black object, which cannot be discerned one way or another. Oh, well, that helps. It goes to show that Sony did anticipate failure of the controllers, and so they've made it easier to repair them. Perhaps even on the part of the user rather than taking it to a repair shop, but still, is that a solution? I suppose it is. I suppose it has to be a solution, because people do... This is the thing. This is one thing that I really dislike about consumerism. Consumerism assumes and expects progress. But there is also a philosophy which is called, if it's not broken, don't fix it. What that essentially amounts to is don't have progress for the sake of progress. And don't have progress for the sake of being afraid to be accused of just doing nothing. It's literally a step backward if what you're going to do is add functionality but then lose reliability on core or key functionality of the product. If you cannot actually introduce an improvement to the product without decreasing the lifespan of it or increasing the chances of it failing, don't fucking introduce the changes. If it becomes unaffordable when you add the changes, don't add them! Figure out a way to make it affordable yet also profitable. You know what I mean? But companies don't do this because they're afraid to be accused of one thing or another or to lose interest in the space or whatever the fuck. I mean, seriously. Remember when the DualShock 1, 2 and 3 controller was the same fucking thing for 10 years? Remember that? That was great. I miss those days. It was more like 15 years. It was the same thing. Again, it was a good design. It was light, but durable and reliable. I was talking about how I never had issues with stick drift on DualShock 3 controllers, and then I had someone chime in and say that they were constantly having issues with that, but I never really had issues with that. To me, it was a design that worked. It was reliable, but we have, I think, obviously come to see that issues that didn't previously exist in controller manufacturing have literally become an almost prohibitive issue for gamers who just want a controller that works for a year. They just want to buy a controller and have it work. People who have been gaming for a long time have actually become used to having things work for years, plural. But now things are just breaking down within months. It's terrible. The user experience is actually worsening, and yet companies are going, hey look, this controller has more functionality than the last one. Well, does it? Does it really? I think most people would prefer for it to fucking work. And I don't think that's in any way controversial. Gotta have the touchpad, man. It's important. Gotta innovate. It's progress. Don't want to stagnate. Don't want to stagnate. Imagine being so fucking afraid of stagnation that you're going to do the opposite instead. Or rather, not the opposite of stagnation, but rather, imagine instead of stagnating, you're just going to make it worse.
Oh, I don't want to stagnate.
Now, I agree, you don't want to stagnate. That's pretty bad. But you also don't want to intentionally worsen the product because you're so afraid of getting comfortable with something that works, so you don't try new things. You can try new things without actually forcing people to use it. I understand that you learn more when you design new things by having a huge group of people test it out and see if it works or not. But you know, I don't think that that can work in the way it has been implemented so far, like as a strategy. Like, can we really have controllers, on the whole, worsening in the way that they are for everyone, irrespective of what console we play on? And then eventually we just get used to it. It's like, oh no, we just get used to it. See, this is my cynicism at work. If we get used to controllers failing in less than a year, eventually you're going to have generations of people getting into gaming, and that's just standard. That is to be expected. And if that is to be expected, then people aren't going to demand that you have controllers be manufactured better than they are. And as a result, you're going to have a permanent... how do I describe it? It's going to become permanently worse than what it was in the past. It's not just going to be, you know, this teething period while we introduce new functionality and then, oh, we have to try and work out how to make it more durable. Well, if people don't have an issue with it being less durable, then what incentive does any manufacturer have to increase durability? People are paying for the functionality, and they're sacrificing durability for the functionality, but they're fine with that. So then literally a manufacturer is looking for a solution that isn't even being expected or desired by the people who are purchasing their products. So literally, what is the point for them to innovate? That is why I take issue with the current situation. We're going to end up in a situation where it will permanently devolve. It's not just an interim period where, oh no, it's just like this for now, guys. No. And I don't think that's just mindless cynicism. Vaporiat says, I had a controller I've had for literal years and nothing ever was wrong with it. As soon as I bought a new one, 3 months in and I got stick drift. Now that's not something that could be used in some sort of, scientifically validated experiment, but you hear things like this, and you experience things like this, and what it does is it creates a picture of poor reliability on a product that used to, or a type of product that used to be reliable at one time. Why is it no longer reliable? In my opinion, if we sit here pretending like that's okay, it's going to stay that way. It is going to stay that way. We can't just take it lying down and say, oh yeah, it's okay if my controller breaks down this quickly, because hey, look at all the things that it can do. I can touch it, I can get all this crazy feedback. Okay, let me put it this way. If I'm sitting here looking at a television with a controller in my hands, it doesn't feel like I'm actually there. It doesn't feel like I'm actually the person running around because I'm holding a fucking controller. It's clearly not the same thing. You can add all of this functionality to this controller that is so expensive and so innovative to tease my hands and, vibrate in very specific ways. Oh, it's so engaging. Oh, wow. But guess what? I want a controller that works. That is actually the first thing that you should focus on before worrying about any of this gimmickry. But guess what? It's gimmickry that sells a product. It's not reliability that sells a product. Because again, this is the problem with consumerism. It's not reliability. Maybe in the long term it is. But you see, these companies don't care about long-term profitability. They care about the short term because consumerism is pretty fucking, they focus on the short term. They've got short-term memory loss. They literally forget, oh, well, fuck. This last thing sucked. They'll come out with a new thing, with new functionality. Oh, look at what it can do now. I just want it to work. Please. Please. That's why I keep going back to old products. It's just unbelievable. When I talk about things being better in the past, it's not because I'm romanticizing about, a past thing and, I don't enjoy change. It's because, unfortunately, so many aspects of innovation and progress are literally innovation and progress for the sake of it, not for any meaningful desire to improve the way things are. It's just companies and manufacturers engaging in this self-serving progress to keep random people happy that might think, oh, this is stagnating, this hasn't changed. But at the end of the day, they're never actually going to do something that's going to negatively affect their profit margin. So what they're doing at the end of the day is actually going to be beneficial to their product or profit margin, but will be a negative experience for us using their products. But we're caught up in the illusion of progress, even though things are getting worse. And it's pretty pathetic. I'm getting a whole lot of guild cards. Picking now. I'm not interested in anyone's guild card. I mean, I could have taken Buckfut's guild card because we've hunted a little bit, but anyway, we'll do Plesioth, Green Nagakuga, and Ivory Laggy. See, was it Green Plesioth? It was, wasn't it? Where can I find the Doomlink podcast? Well, I definitely could be articulating what I'm saying a lot better than I am, but, you know, I think it's quite clear that I have a good idea of what I'm saying. Not a good idea in that I'm absolutely right about everything that I'm saying, I just mean that I've got a very clear vision of what's right and what's wrong in my head, and obviously the way manufacturers are currently doing things is anti-consumer, pro-manufacturer, and yet consumers are sitting here going, this is fine. This is fine. I mean, obviously you, like those of us who are here now, think that it's not okay. And then there might be swathes of people who also have grievances with the current situation. But is it going to change? It won't. Because we don't have power. Consumers don't have power right now. At least not when it comes to this sort of thing. Consumers have a little bit more power now than they did in the past by way of the very interconnected nature of social media and, you know, influencers and things of that sort. But when it comes to things like controllers that are being released for consoles, I mean, no one's going to not buy a console because the controller for it sucks. You know what I mean? Certain things have to be done well enough. But a controller for a console? If you have to replace it in 6 months, that's pretty bad. But some people won't have to. It's only going to be others that will have to suffer that consequence of bad manufacturing. But if the console is sold well enough to the consumer, and if the games that are on the console are sold well enough to the consumer, oh, we'll just take it down. We'll lie down and accept that the controller for the console's just not up to standard. Whatever. It sucks, but this is what it is. But you see, what that does is it creates a trend for manufacturers to literally do what they can get away with. There's a precedent there. A controller can fail within 6 months on the regular, and consumers will put up with them. Okay, that's it. Durability, gone. Thing of the past. Potato does also make mention of the fact that, well, to phrase it differently to how he's phrased it, it's planned obsolescence. The idea that something is meant to fail in a certain period of time. And in this case, a shorter period of time than what we're used to. Planned obsolescence is absolutely a thing that exists. And it's pretty bad. Manufacturers want us to buy new things instead of... Wait, hold on, what are we hunting? What's the common weakness? Fire. Let's get a fire longsword. So planned obsolescence is essentially described in two ways. First and foremost, you've got products that are failing sooner than they should be. And then on top of that, you've got things being made harder to repair. Fortunately, from what I've heard from what's been discussed in the chat so far, it's easier to repair or replace things that break down on a DualSense controller than, for example, a DualShock 3 controller or DualShock 4 controller. That's a good thing to hear. Fortunately, they're not going all in and saying, that's it, your only option is to buy something new when it breaks down, that's it. Whilst simultaneously making it break down in an unreasonable length of time. But it's still not good to see manufacturing standards on a downward trend when they should be improving. Why are we so focused on functionality? We could assume that manufacturers are benign and that they actually just want to play to the consumer expectation of things should actually be improving, or we could assume malpractice in that they just want things to break down and they want us to be distracted by functionality in order for things to break down faster, and then we'll just accept that. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's quite funny that Sony has come out with a $220 controller that functions as it should. Functions as it should. Like I said, if it literally had 2 extra buttons, that's not what you're paying for. They're making it look like that's part of why you're paying so much money for it, but it's not. It's just to make it slightly more acceptable that you have to spend $220 to get a DualSense controller that's reliable. That's pretty bad. And pretty sad. But that is actually the direction we're going in. It sucks now, but it can only get worse. Fortunately, I have Exchanger. Happy to see this. Let's go. Oh, goodness. But yeah, like, I'm always talking about, you know how, I'm sure all of you are familiar with this. The phrase, or the, oh, whoops, what did we depart on? This is not what I had in mind. Was this actually, I was expecting the flooded forest. Green Nagakuga must be spawning in Area 7. Let me Psycho Serum this. I hope I didn't choose the wrong quest. Oh no, we're starting with Ivory Laggy. What is going on? Oh no, we're starting with Plesioth. They're going to fish out Plesioth. Okay, let me Farcast. Whoops. We're starting with Green Plesioth. Let's take it easy. Anyway, sorry, I got a little bit confused by what we were doing. Not confused, but rather distracted by what we were doing in game. So what I was trying to touch on, just before I got distracted by that, was the fact that I think all of us are familiar with this phrase. And we've probably all used it. Remember when products were just built better? Remember when products were just more reliable? The reality is that this is not just romanticizing the past, it's a fact. And it actually has permeated manufacturing deeply, in every respect. It's just something that we've learned to live with now. It's just how it is. And it's a real shame. I got flinched at like the... I'm pressing the X button, but is my X button broken? Why can't I unsheath my weapon? What's happened? I've never had this before. I'm pressing my X button. This is not the time for my controller to die. Just after we were talking about manufacturing, I would never accuse the Classic Controller Pro of being poorly manufactured. Wow, that's really weird. I had some sort of issue with my Classic Controller where somehow unplugging it and plugging it back in restored the functionality of the X button. It literally wasn't working before, now it is, so whatever. But yeah, I need to make it very clear that the Classic Controller Pro is very well manufactured. This is the one that I have used for all of my Tri and 3 Ultimate play. Probably a combined 3,500 hours worth of monster hunting, and it still works very well. I've also spilt alcohol all over it, I've spilt port all over it, you know, it has gone through the fucking wars, and it still functions better than a DualShock 4 controller will function 12 months into using it. So, there you go. And I've been using this thing since 2010. It's pretty bad. It's pretty fucking bad that things have gotten to this point.
Oh, but the Classic Controller Pro doesn't have as much functionality.
Okay, but how about we find a balance between working for 12 to 13 years with less functionality, and then having a little bit more functionality, but then it dies in 12 months. Could we find like a middle ground there? Is that possible? It is. The answer to that rhetorical question is it fucking is possible, but there is no incentive for manufacturers to find that solution. None whatsoever. But yeah, I haven't had that happen before. That's obviously a software thing, rather than hardware, literally. I unplug the controller and plug it back in, and I can use the X button again. Pretty weird. Don't think I've had that before. Bit weird. I do think that this controller is sort of on the way out, though. And it's only because of me. It's not because of the controller or the fact that it's breaking down. It's because I spilt port all through it, I think. Like 6 months ago. Or less than that. Maybe it was brandy. I can't remember what it was. I spilt something all through it. Ugh. Which is pretty sad when you've been using this controller for as long as I have. I was very upset. But it's still working. Still working just fine. I haven't lost functionality on this controller. So, there you go. Also, we need to start singing the praise... Singing... how should I phrase it? We need to appreciate any controller that is well manufactured at this point. And let me mention another one. The Wii U Pro controller. This controller is an absolute champion. It is well built, well manufactured, and has breathtakingly good battery life. The thing with that controller is you'll plug it in when it's at low battery life and you'll go, this is taking a long time to charge. Like, this is taking a long time. An unreasonably long time to fully charge. Why? I'll tell you why. It's because once you fully charge this controller, you're not going to need to charge it again for like 12 months. 12 months! Hand on heart. Like, this controller is, to use a rather common phrase and very modern phrase, built different. It's built to a manufacturing standard that is now extinct. And this is only going back a little less than 10 years. So, what the fuck is going on? That's what I want to know. I don't know what's happening with the Switch Pro controller. Maybe that's also well built, I don't know. But the Wii U Pro controller, what a champion of a controller. Incredible. Very expensive, but worth the money. Not as expensive as this DualSense controller that's $220 for 2 extra buttons, but, you know, it was expensive. But yeah, Wii U Pro controller, an absolute, like, that is the zenith of controller manufacturing right there. I don't like the layout of it. I prefer to have the analog sticks side by side like this. I don't like to have them on a diagonal. That's how the Wii U Pro controller is. But, yeah. Doesn't mean I can't appreciate how well it's manufactured. I'm actually not too sure where Ivory Laggy Cruise is going to spawn. It could be Area 7, it could be Area 9, or Area 11. It really could be any of those three. Let's find out which one it is. I'm in a good spot to access all of those locations. It seems to be Area 9. Yeah, it's Area 9. Very well. We're now triangulating on the position of the monster. And now we are in single file. Almost single file. Heading for Ivory Laggy Cruise. G'day.
G'day, mate.
How about I do the rest of the fucking live stream in a full
Aussie accent.
yeah, g'day, mate.
Now, most of you are not used to me speaking in a full fucking Aussie accent. That's pretty weird, isn't it? Don't you reckon, mate? Well, I'll tell you what. If you're like me and you've lived your entire fucking life in Australia, you get pretty used to an Aussie accent, mate. And so, essentially what you get is a fully authentic fucking Australian accent from a guy who, by regular standards, has a pretty posh fucking accent. What you didn't realise is that I'm a true blue, fair dinkum fucking Aussie bloke who can speak in a real fucking accent. A real fucking Aussie accent right here, mate. No, I'm not going to do that for the rest of the recording, but at least you know what it sounds like. That's if I were born with different parents and with different... with a different sense of self-image. But, anyway.
Incidentally, my parents don't speak like I do either. My dad has a fairly Aussie accent. Not as bad as that, but he's pretty Aussie. My mum's got a bit more of a light accent, but yeah. I am self-created. I'm not a product of my parents. Maybe to some extent, but not in full. The Switch Pro controller has a stiff, unreliable D-pad. The one that you got at launch has a stiff and unreliable D-pad. Could you tell me why you got the Switch at launch? Because I refused to get it at launch, and I'll tell you why. It's because Breath of the Wild came out on Wii U, and I knew it was coming out on Wii U. What I didn't know is that the game was going to run like shit on the Wii U. No one knew that at that time. But, you see, upon the basis that Breath of the Wild was coming out on the Wii U, I saw absolutely no reason to get the Switch. Why did you get it? Because I'm interested to know. Did you think the technology was just that worth it? You had to get it immediately? It's going to be worth it in the long run? I'm glad I was there at the start, sort of thing? 'Cause I don't know. You were sold by the gimmick. Look, I think the concept of the Switch is pretty cool. I think it is very cool, but you see, there is a certain level of gimmickry associated with the Switch. It's because, while it seems to function very nicely, in my opinion, it fails as a portable system and fails as a stationary console. Because you've literally created a console that can do both, but as a result, it does both in a worse sort of way. Now, some people will say, oh, well, Doomlink, that's the compromise you have to accept. This is the Nintendo console of the year 2017 until the present day. I don't have much of a fucking choice in the matter. I can't sit here and say, oh, well, this is the compromise. No, it's not. This is what Nintendo has forced upon me and everyone else who wants to play their fucking games. What if I would rather play on a stationary console that's good and play on a portable console that's good? Well, we're not allowed to make that decision for ourselves anymore because it turns out no one wanted to play the Wii U or no one wanted to buy the Wii U because Nintendo sucks at marketing. How do I know Nintendo sucks at marketing? Most people still think to this day that the Wii U is a handheld thing. That's how shit the marketing was. Because every time they marketed the Wii U, they just showed the gamepad. So people who never actually got a Wii U and never actually looked at the games that are sold for it and seen how you play those games, they assume it's actually the gamepad. Like, that is the Wii U. And quite frankly, if you look at just that thing on its own, why would you want that? They never marketed it properly as the gamepad plus a separate console and then those two things interacting together. It was always just the fucking gamepad. Look at this gamepad. Look at this big fucking bulky thing. It's got a little screen. It's great. I mean, you know, it was obviously shit. But the thing is, the console itself was the first of the next-gen consoles. It wasn't amazingly good, but to be honest, the original PS4 and the original Xbox One were pretty fucking bad, so it wasn't exactly competing with stuff that was blowing it out of the water in terms of specs. In fact, I think the specs of the Wii U were pretty good compared to what would later be the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One at launch. No one bought a Wii U for two reasons: shit marketing on the part of Nintendo, and also games that didn't really draw much attention. A bunch of fucking Zelda remasters, games that didn't have much of an interest in the wider gaming community. Just generally speaking, it was a failure. But, you know, Nintendo decided, oh fuck, we can't have a stationary console anymore because it's their fault. It's not our fault, it's their fault. It's their fault.
we're just gonna ruin our portable consoles and our stationary consoles by making them into one. That'll teach them to not buy our stationary console because our advertising is shit.
This is literally Nintendo. It's pathetic. Why do I have to deal with the Switch? Like, okay, maybe I need to make this very clear. The Switch sucks as a handheld console because it is really, really unergonomic. It is uncomfortable to play. It's really uncomfortable to play. Now, the Switch Lite is comfortable to play. But guess what? I don't own a Switch Lite. And I don't use my Switch as a portable console. I didn't have an option to have a Switch that can't be used as a portable console and then in exchange have a better stationary console. I never had that option. I could only have the thing that could also be used on the go. Hey, guess what? When I need to take a shit, I go and take a shit! That's what I do. I don't need to, let me undock my game and take a shit. Like, I don't need to do that. That's not something that I need to experience in the 2010s. It's now 2023. I don't need to experience it now. I didn't need to experience it then. I'm quite fine just taking a shit with my phone. Oh, what's going on? Like, I'm fine with that. What are we hunting again? I don't really know. Let me just use a raw weapon again. Gunlance, Shining Star. Yeah, the name of Wii U is also very bad. I do agree with that. The Wii to start with was pretty bad. I remember when the Wii came out, and I thought it was really quite funny. Like, the idea that it was literally a console that made you think of someone urinating. I mean, what? But of course, it was such a cultural phenomenon that everyone got used to it very quickly. Yeah, the Wii. You would say the Wii, and you quite quickly got used to... I mean, keeping in mind that this is Australia, where I live, where we say we. Oh, I'm just going to have a Wii, mate. That sort of thing. You know, it was quite often used. I would guarantee that the word wee was used to refer to urine a lot more in Australia than it was used in the US and probably the UK as well. So, you know, it was pretty bad over here when it came out, as far as the association with urine, but fucking hell. But Wii U? Yeah, just... Anyway. I need to focus on getting ready for this next hunt. Psychoserums, let's get a few more. Alright, let's go. Sorry guys, I've kept you waiting. I apologize. Asuka is using the Anima Reaper. As you do. Anyway, the overall point is that I don't like the Switch, but I like the Wii U. Why? It's because the Wii U, and this might sound a little strange, because I'm in two minds about the Wii U. On the one hand, I think that it strikes a good balance between a console that wants to be a stationary console, but also with a little bit of portable console functionality. You know, portable in the sense that I can take it around the house. Whereas I can see the Wii and understand, you know, this is literally what they wanted, ultimately, with the Wii U. They wanted it to be as portable as the Switch is, but you know what? The Wii U didn't need to compromise in the way that the Switch had to compromise. And so, overall, I actually look at the Wii U with a great deal more fondness than I look at the Switch. The Switch, quite frankly, in my eyes, is a fucking failure. The only reason why it's not a failure is because it's the Nintendo system that everyone's playing. You don't have another option. They've literally combined the markets of the 3DS and whatever their stationary console would be into one to make it look like the Switch is more popular and more successful. It's not. It's really not. And quite frankly, I'm not personally convinced that people are using Switch Lites instead of 3DSs. I guarantee that the 3DS has more longevity to it now than it would have had if they had just come out with a new, good, portable-only system. You know, the 3DS as it is now would not be as popular and in use as much as it is now if they had come out with a new one. Not because purely the new one would have just been so much better, but because the Switch does not adequately replace a 3DS. It just doesn't. Even the Switch Lite. The Switch Lite is getting better. It's a bit closer to what you want, but it's still, you know, like the Switch, which was not good. If they just made a PS Vita competitor, you know, something to compete with the PS Vita. I mean, they don't actually need to compete with the PS Vita for fairly obvious reasons, but, you know, if they were to pretend like the PS Vita was actually eating their lunch in that space, and made something to compete with the PS Vita, you'd be looking at a fucking good system, because if anyone's ever held a PS Vita in their hands, that is a real fucking portable system. That is something that's worth getting behind. The 3DS, by comparison, is woefully pathetic as a system. You know, the 3DS feels like something from a previous decade when you put the PS Vita in your hands. And the last time I had a PS Vita in my hands was in 2015. Okay? You know, that's getting on 8 years ago. 8 years ago. And that was the last time I had a PS Vita in my hands. And still, the PS Vita is a better portable console than anything Nintendo has come out with ever, in my opinion. So, what's going on? The last person I explained this to thought that I was a Sony fanboy, and I'm not. I think Sony can go and deep throat a cactus. But I will call it like it is. The 3DS sucks. It always has. But, you know. Oh, I'm sorry, I was not expecting a bomb to come out there. Simply because the monster woke up. I was not expecting any sort of bomb to go out for a monster that was awake. But yeah, if anyone wants me to expand on why the 3DS sucks, let me know. I don't want to go into it now because I recently had a rant about it in a Discord conversation, but if anyone needs a little refresher on why the 3DS sucks, just let me know. Anyway. The Wii U was a half-assed version of the Switch. I do agree it was ill-conceived. I don't think they really needed for the gamepad to exist at all. I don't think it added in any way to the experience. It was just a... It was sort of a simplified version of what they had in their head, which was the Switch. But actually, to only partially go in that direction was not really beneficial. I don't think that it was helpful to have the gamepad. In some respects it is, but maybe I need to play more Wii U games to really get a sense for how the gamepad can be integrated. I have played, well, I'm currently playing 3 Ultimate, but, you know, I don't really need the gamepad there for 3 Ultimate. Ugh. I'm sort of at risk here. Oh, I never had a Vita of my own, Beans. I had a friend who had a Vita, and he got it when it came out, and I played Freedom Unite on it. He only got Freedom Unite because when the Vita came out was when I was trying to get my friend into Monster Hunter, and he thought he would download Freedom Unite on it. And I played Freedom Unite on it. And I also played, I think, Black Ops 2 on it. And just the whole time I was sitting there with this machine in my hands, I was just going, the 3DS is just a pathetic, anachronistic brick compared to this thing. Like, it is just, you know, the 3DS has no business being sold new while this PS Vita exists. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And yet, the PS Vita completely failed, and the 3DS survived. Which, I mean, no one has to wonder why that was. And I don't reject the reason why the Vita failed. But purely looking at hardware, the Vita was so much better. Just down to even ergonomics. Even at the basic level of ergonomics, it was more comfortable to hold a Vita than a fucking 3DS. The 3DS can go and eat my ass. Like, I hate that thing. Every time I talk about the 3DS, people go, "Oh, you must not have had the XL. If you get the XL, it's bigger, it's nicer." Hey, guess what? It's not nicer at all. It might be bigger, but it's not nicer. I'll tell you that. Anyway. Sony completely fucked up with the Vita, and that was pretty sad. It is what it is. If big companies can fail at marketing, then I don't really think it's something for us to sit back and go, "Oh, you're a bunch of idiots for fucking that up." I mean, it's just disappointing for us as consumers to have it fail in the way that it did. That's why we respond in the way that we do when it fails. But yeah. I don't know if I would get a Vita now. I wouldn't get one to play Freedom Unite, I'll tell you why. Freedom Unite, as far as the camera controls are concerned, are not designed to be used by, you know, the right analog stick of a Vita. I played Freedom Unite on the Vita and it didn't work very well because the game was not designed for that kind of analog stick. It was designed to have the camera moved by a D-pad. Now, if your camera is designed to be moved by a D-pad, and then you use something as sensitive as a Vita right analog stick, it's not going to work very well. You are going to constantly, accidentally change the camera view. And that was something that, for me, was prohibitive. I would never recommend a person play Freedom Unite on the Vita over an original PSP 1000, 2000, 3000, because it's just not designed for the Vita, and you can tell. It's awkward. But, you know, that's nothing to do with the console. That's everything to do with the fact that the PSP Monster Hunter games were not designed to be played on a Vita. But if you were to have Monster Hunter on a Vita, in other words, free camera as you had it in 4th generation on a Vita, oh my god. Any person who has played on a Vita and just for a moment imagines portable Monster Hunter on a Vita in 4th generation, it almost brings me to tears, because the amount of shit that you had to deal with in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate because it was on a 3DS was almost immeasurable. You couldn't even begin to describe how many things were wrong with 4 Ultimate because it was on a fucking 3DS. But if you were to have that thing on a Vita, it would have been a timeless classic of a video game. Absolutely beautiful, incredible. What an experience. What an experience. But no. No. We didn't get that. We didn't deserve that, apparently. And you know what? Capcom made the right decision, didn't they? Because the Vita failed. Maybe they saw that coming. Who knows? Who knows? Buckfun has left. He said BRB. Okay. I've been live for almost 3 hours. I'll probably do one more hunt and then finish up. Yes, they did remove Freedom Unite from the iOS App Store. I think it's because, you see, Capcom obviously weren't willing to keep it up to standard with Apple software. The App Store has to very strictly and accurately cohere with whatever Apple's requirements are. Has to be constantly worked on, constantly updated. And Capcom obviously weren't willing to do that. It is what it is. Bugfun has returned. It is his turn to post, but Chris is going to the quest giver anyway. Right? Oh, it was yours. Yeah, go for it, Asuka. Unless Asuka skipped. Am I not, like, keeping track? No, okay. So, Buckfunt posted the last quest. So that means it's Asuka. Go for it, mate. I'm just looking, says Chris. Well, you're welcome to look. I don't mind. I'm just making it clear in case you don't know. To Joe. Rage match. Oh god. I don't really want to do that. Rage match. Chris can't join. Aha. What's his hunter rank? 7. Rage match is HR 8 requirement? Really? Is it? Is it HR 8 or is it event? Yeah, it's HR 8. Look at that. No. There you go. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected Rage Match to be an HR 8 requirement. I'll use some kind of bow loadout. Not sure what. Pierce bow? Altius Incanonis, is that right? Whatever it's called. Yes. Very good. I'll join up on the quest. This will be our last quest. It's going to be a pretty epic finale. I'll let whoever wants to post do so. I'm going to go to the bathroom in the meantime. I'll be back momentarily. I'm back. Just getting on. Fortunately, nobody expecting me to depart right now. As in, right now. Where is Lord Zor? Why is he not departing? Where are you? Join now. Let's hunt immediately. None of that. Which pleases me. Alright. So, we've got some smoke bombs on hand, according to our team. I'm going to put away some of this elemental ammunition, plus that status ammunition. I'm going to go and get some appropriate coatings. Come on. Can't shoot close range, apparently. And, okay, so it's only power. Literally power and slime is all this bow can shoot, apparently. I will bring empty vials and nitro shrooms. And I may as well bring smoke bombs, just to... Oh, I don't have any. Okay, I can't assist when it comes to the smoking of the monsters. But that seems to be under control anyway. Because at least 2 people are smoke bombing, and Buckfut has specifically requested for us to focus on 1 monster first. So that's fine. I feel like Asuka repeatedly tried to depart and was like, why is it defaulting to no? It keeps defaulting to no, why can't I depart? Yeah, it's because Chris needed to ready up. We're ready to go. This is range match. Obviously, for anyone who is unfamiliar with this fact, back in we're doing this again. Again, X is not responding for some reason. What's going on? Again, I need to show you this because I'm not sure what's causing this, but I literally unplug the controller from my Wiimote, plug it back in. Why? Why is it that these buttons fail in that sort of way? Well, I really should be getting involved. I hope you guys have the smoke bombs under control, because I'm used to having some influence over this, and I just don't right now, so... Here we go, sleep meat. I'm gonna get a sleep. Chris! What are you doing? Come on, man. There's simply no excuse. I watched you fucking start a spirit combo. Like, you weren't using a greatsword and you finally fucking let your charge loose. You actually began a spirit combo while the monster had been asleep for 3 to 5 seconds. And he's dead. You motherfucker. Mate, the standard sorry with the exclamation mark doesn't cut it. Our friend, the other Devil Joe, has fallen asleep. He actually wasn't engaging us in combat. He was, he saw meat and ate it. No combat required, so we're not going to fight him. We're just going to focus on this one for now. Another smoke bomb, please. Please? Please? When that fella... I'm sorry, Asuka. I wasn't really accounting for you dropping a bomb. I've not been using my power coatings. Let's do that immediately. I actually brought combinations for these things. I can't fucking see anything. Alright, that Devil Joe is looking fairly docile and uninterested. I can't see anything when you flash bomb while a smoke bomb is in effect. Like, that is the worst combination ever. That's a poison meat. Okay. I don't really have any reason to assume that this monster is close to death. Whoa. Dangerous stuff. Dangerous stuff, boys. The hunt is on. The hunt is on. No. No. There we are. Okay. I'm glad to see that that one's already fucking dead. That's very good stuff. Very good. That was taken care of in short order. Despite Chris doing everything in his power to make it harder for us to succeed, we succeeded. It's probably a little unfair to say that he was doing everything in his power to prevent us from succeeding, but you know, it's a strong and emotional way to express the fact that that guy was doing some dumb shit. Some really dumb shit. It was not helpful. No, we okay, take it easy. I don't know if you did that out of habit or what, but like, it's no longer helpful. I suppose whoever was dropping smoke bomb was like, this must be helpful. I'm gonna keep doing this. We were doing it to avoid the other one. The other one's now dead, so it's time to put the smoke bombs away so we can actually see what we're doing. Thank you. I thought I might be able to roll through that. I would have been able to if I had timed it better. I've already explained that this person doesn't need to keep dropping smoke bombs. Why are they doing it? It's actually making it harder to see. It's not like it's this harmless thing where it's like, oh, well, whatever, drop the smoke bomb. It's actually harder to see what's going on in the fight. You deal with it. You deal with the inconvenience for the benefit of not being seen by the other monster. That's fine, but it's not something that you should put up with if it's not giving you any benefit whatsoever. This Chris guy needs to be put in a fucking padded cell. I need to actually personally address him when this quest is over. I need to personally address him and ask him what he thinks that smoke bomb is doing in the second half of the fight. Oh, my hair. Apparently Potato's cat keeps pawing at me. Fair enough. Meow. I like cats. I'm a friend to cats. Oh no. Stay away from the bombs. They're also quite dangerous. Does Chris still have smoke bombs? We're about to find out. Because he's gonna fucking drop one thinking that it's gonna help. Yep, look at him go. He's still fucking dropping them. Like I said, I'm going to actually ask him what he thinks it's doing. Is it a joke? Is it... like, what is it? Because quite frankly, it's not a funny joke. I'm having to strain my eyes to see what's going on because this prick is dropping smoke bombs entirely unnecessarily. Because, I don't know. He's got a neurological disorder or something. I'm not sure what it is. There must be an explanation for it. Who knows? He might be hooked up to a machine. Anything is possible, but at this stage, I'm not in the mood to give him the benefit of the doubt. If he's hooked up to a machine, maybe I'll make an allowance for that. But if he's not... oh my god, who keeps dropping fucking paralysis meat? Stop doing this. Do I need to give a tutorial on how to drop meat in a Devil Joe hunt as well? You know, I'm not this erudite and fiercely learned Monster Hunter player, but I'm also not retarded, okay? So I'm neither that nor the other thing. And I'm in good stead to basically say, with some confidence, that there's at least one person with profound inabilities when it comes to playing Monster Hunter in this room. At least one person. There could even be two. It's possible that there are two. I don't know if Chris was the one putting meat down, but if he was the one putting meat down, then it's just one. If there are two people, in other words, Chris and a separate person to him putting meat down, then there might be two people who need a very personal tutorial on how to actually play Monster Hunter. I apologize for insulting your cat with my very human attempt at communicating. I suppose, I mean, you can't actually ignore that my meow was probably rather aggressive in nature. If I were looking to get on your cat's good side, I'd say that was a pretty aggressive meow. So, I should work on that. My intention was to have it be audible. I was thinking if I did a soft meow, your cat wouldn't hear it. But anyway. Poor kitty. I would get a cat, but it would fucking destroy everything I own. Like, I have so much glassware and so much stuff that's very fragile that I cannot own a cat. I love cats, but I cannot own a fucking cat. As much as I love cats, I'm not going to be able to accept having all of my precious and fragile stuff being broken. You have to understand, cats will find a way. I know you think that there might be a way to avoid it, but no, cats will find a way. So, I'm not doing it. I'm not fucking doing it. Older cats are more chill. Well, I'm not gonna get an older cat. I want a cat that's young. And then we can grow old together. Except that cat's gonna grow older much faster than me. But my point is that I'm not gonna get an old cat. Why would I do that? Got to go. Thanks for the hunts. Bye-bye. It's funny, like, his last hunt ended up being my last hunt. So that was interesting. Maybe he's actually me. I am still going to try and ask Chris why he was dropping smoke bombs. I want some kind of explanation. It doesn't have to be a good explanation, I just want some explanation so that I can try and understand the inner workings of this person's mind. Because at the moment, I'm struggling to make sense of it. I just want to know. I just want to know. I have an inquiring mind. It's a funny little curiosity. Come on, Chris. Don't sit there. You have been directly addressed by name. This is not the time to be sitting down and eating, which, by the way, you cannot do while simultaneously responding to me. So if you need to eat before responding to me, that's fine, but I do want a response. It's Tavo. Oh, I'd better continue. If Tavo is here, fine. Chris is happy. Okay. I just want an answer. I want to know why. I'm sorry. I told you to not do it during the quest. I mean, like, I didn't see the message. Okay. The poor boy. Oh, you poor thing. Precious creature. Ugh. Fucking hell. I'm gonna get diabetes. Okay. He has no concept of why smoke bombs were being used. He didn't notice the message when I said, like, why the fuck are you putting down smoke bombs? You don't need to be putting them down. Stop it. It's fine. I don't know who posted last. I think, is it Asuka's turn? Who wanted? Asuka wanted to, okay, Chris can post. You know what? Have a lollipop. Have a treat, kid. Like, at this stage, fucking hell. Please. Poor boy, I want to fly to his fucking location in South America. And I don't know where he's from, but he's probably from South America. I'm gonna fucking fly to his location and I'm gonna give him a good old pat on the head. Poor boy. Jesus Christ. Sorry, Jesucristo. Fucking unbelievable. He could also be French, it's just possible. And the reason why I wouldn't assume that he's French is because there aren't as many of them around anymore. For various reasons. Give the poor child an extra brain cell. Well, if it were that simple, I'd do it. I'd do it. But it's not. It really isn't. I don't remember what he posted, so therefore Pierce. Not Pierce, sorry, raw damage. I said Pierce because I saw Pierce on my screen when I said it. What am I doing? Anything at this stage. I don't know. Well, it doesn't have to be raw. It can be status as well. Okay. How about Black Diablo's Lance? How about that? That's definitely an option. That was really funny. Oh, just that whole interaction. He ignored me. He completely ignored me. He was embarrassed. He was like,
Oh, I'm sorry, I kept dropping smoke. I don't want to respond to him.
but I fucking pressed him on it, and then he was like, I'm sorry. Oh, God. Oh. Poor thing. Why did he think we were dropping them? Like, Christ, use Google. You know what I mean? Oh God, I need to sell this stuff. You wonder why I'm trying to avoid creating extra stacks. This is all it takes, you know? Ooh. Yeah, let's sell this shit. I don't need this shit in my inventory. Go away. Oh, and also the slog bone. Sell that thing. I remember that I had created an extra stack and I forgot to actually sell that. I gave him social anxiety through his TV screen. Well, you know. How do you think cyberbullying exists? You don't actually have to be in front of the person. Ugh. Do people still use the term cyberbullying? Is that still like a thing? Maybe at school it is, I don't know. Just the word cyber has become a little outdated now. So I just wonder if it's still being used. It's sort of like, you know, E hyphen something, you know? We still use it with email because that's how old emails are. You know, emails go back to the 80s when, you know, digital was referred to as electronic. You know, electronic mail. Similar thing to the word cyber, you know, it's a little outdated. We still use it with email because it's just a thing. It is what it is, but do we still say cyberbullying? Is there another way to refer to it now? Has it been updated? Oh, apparently it's called cyber harassment now. That's another way to refer to it. You can be harassed. I suppose, again, the definition of bullying, as I understand it, is something that is sustained and consistent and targeted. Whereas harassment, as I'm sure we are all familiar with, is a whole lot less specific than that. Harassment can literally just mean someone called you a poopy head. And if you add cyber in front of it, that's literally like every single one of us has been a victim of extreme and sustained cyber harassment. Every single one of us. You know why? Because we've spent 10 minutes or more on the internet. Those of us who have spent more than 10 minutes on the internet have been subject to the most egregious cyber harassment imaginable. I have been so harassed over cyberspace that, I mean, words fail. One time a person told me that they should have killed my mother before I was aborted. No, that never happened. But, you know, the point is that shit happens, you know. People say bad things on the internet. That's just what it is. Cyber harassment. What's that? You mean going on the internet? That's what it sounds like to me. I did hear something along those lines. I don't think it was addressed to me personally. Someone said that. But no, it's just normal stuff. You know, it's the way it is. No, I was paraphrasing cyber harassment. I wasn't quoting cyber harassment, okay? That's also educational. Learn about the difference between quoting and paraphrasing versus... and then simultaneously learn about cyber harassment versus cyberbullying. Cyberbullying means that you're really being targeted aggressively. I've been bullied just for having a YouTube channel. Every time I received dislikes for no reason, I was being bullied because I was being targeted. That person was consistently and in a targeted fashion disliking my videos, so I was actually the victim of cyberbullying as a result. You know, it made me feel bad, made me feel down, made me feel worse about myself. And so, I am officially an authority on this subject because I've experienced it. So if you want to know anything about it, just come to me and I'm sure that I'll give you some advice, one way or the other. Video dislikes can lead to very bad things. It can create a downward spiral in your mental health and well-being, and yeah. That's why they removed video dislikes, everyone. It's because it's dangerous, it's a slippery slope. It'll take you into dark places in your mind that you never thought you could possibly reach. Except through dark inducement by way of physical pain and emotional destruction. It hasn't happened recently, Potato. I think the last time I had someone, you know, sitting at their computer deciding to dislike my videos consistently for a week or more. I think the last time that happened was maybe a year ago, but yeah. I never thought of it that way, you know. I happened to hurt someone's feelings and so they decided they're just gonna dislike all of my videos. But yeah, I thought it might have been someone who just genuinely didn't like me as a human being, but you know, maybe it's something a little more petty than that. I just said something that they didn't agree with, and or maybe something that hurt their feelings in some superficial way. And so they're like, fuck this guy. I don't know who's hosting right now. Oh, it's Tarbo. Tarbo's hosting. Tarbo's hosting it. Here we go. You're going to see an immediate change. It's just changed to a different host, and you're going to see a complete difference, right? Am I correct in saying that? I think so. Yeah. So basically, the hosting system is the same here as it was in the PSP games, which is shocking. It's the first person to engage the monster in combat. That is who hosts it. It has nothing to do with who posted the quest, it has nothing to do with who is hosting the room, it has everything to do with who was first seen by the monster. And Tarbo's connection is really bad. Really, really bad. So, yeah. He's still doing pretty good, despite his bad connection. But you can already see that everything has changed drastically, from having asked him to leave and rejoin. The reality is that the last time he was hosting, everyone was experiencing bad connection. It wasn't just me, it's not just about me wanting a clean, smooth hunt for my audience. Everyone has bad connection with Tarbo. So it's better for Tarbo on his own to experience that, rather than subject everyone to misery while he personally gets a smooth hunt. I'd like for him to get a smooth hunt, obviously, but not to the detriment of everyone else's experience. Whoa. By the way, Brachydios is not as resistant to slime in this game as he is in other games. If you want to know. There we go, got that fist. This is a funny place to have pushed the Brachydios. I think it's time for him to die. Yeah, there we go. Got a limp. I could smell it coming. I'm going to paralyze it, says Chris. Go for it, brother. Honestly. Go for it. If you could do something, I'd be appreciative. Anything. With your Thunder Longsword versus these Brachydios monsters. Honestly. Oh wow. You don't get to see Brachydios eating very often. He looks very silly when he eats. Look at him go! He just goes nom 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 nom. That's exactly what Brachydios is like when he eats. And he makes those noises too. Capture? Do it.
Do it. I am the Senate.
Yeah, he wanted to capture it. It was a double quest, I think. I don't know if it was double Brachydio. I haven't been paying attention either. Oh no, it's a single Brachydio hunt. Okay. He just wanted to capture it, I suppose. Oh. Dear me. Whoa, no. Guys, just for future reference, fuck. If I'm here, I don't mean to be here, okay? I would have put myself here so that you could read the chat, and then by the time I departed on the hunt, I had forgotten that I'd moved myself here. There's no reason for me to be here, okay? There is no reason for me to be there, so please let me know if I've done that. Fuck. Jesus Christ. It's just because I'm not constantly checking my OBS window to see if everything is okay, you know? Like, I will check it more often than some people would, because I am actually pretty paranoid about things not going according to plan. And the reason why is because whenever I don't, shit like that happens, because no one ever draws attention to it. They're never like, oh, Doomlink, why are you in the middle of the screen? Even though you're never in the middle of the screen. Like, no one ever questions these things. Oh. Anyway. I do thank you all for watching. That is going to be it for my recording. I will see you next time I'm recording Monster Hunter or anything else along those lines. I may not be able to record for a few days because I am actually going to be changing internet service providers. As you know, sometimes when you change internet service providers, you may be without internet for days. It sort of depends on how things go. Hopefully it's not going to take days to change internet service providers. We will find out. But I am warning you, I may not record for a few days, which quite frankly would not be entirely out of the ordinary anyway. But I'm telling you why I'm not recording in the event that I don't record. I shall bid you all farewell for now, and I thank you all for watching. Bye bye. Thank you for being here for as long as you have been.